coming up, Ty from Comeuppance is on, and we'll be looking at two films. We'll be looking at Hollow Point, Daniel Zirilli film with Luke Goss and then Jay Mohr as the baddie. And then also Operation Black Ops with Tito Ortiz and Cris Cyborg. And then next week, Scott Murphy is back on from All 90s Action All the Time and New Horror Express. We'll be looking at the Seagal film Attack Force. We're going to kind of continue his odyssey, looking at Seagal's DTV flicks with the real bonkers one there, right, in Attack Force. Then the week after that, Mitch from the Video Vacuum, he'll be on, we'll be talking about his new book, The Kung Fu Companion, and we'll be looking at a Bruceploitation flick called The Dragon Lives Again, which is, again, also very bonkers. So it'll be a good one here. And then Ty from Comeuppance will be back on soon as well. We'll be looking at two Eric Roberts films in honor of his birthday, with month of April being his birthday. We're going to look at two Top Gunner films, the first and third one, because he didn't star in the second one, but he starred in the first and third one. And of course, they have nothing to do with each other. They're just asylum flicks. I think it's the first time we've done Asylum on the podcast in a long time. I can't remember the last time we've done Asylum, so that'll be a good one as well. And then we still got some episodes to record to finish off the month of April, so but we've got those scheduled out, so there'll be good ones as well. We've got some real interesting films on tap and some really great conversations coming for the rest of the month, so definitely stay tuned there. In terms of the site, this Saturday we finish off the month of March with Left 4 Dead, Albert Pyun film that's on Vudu, which is now called Fandango at Home, I guess. But anyway, that's where it's located. It's one of the few Albert Pyun films we haven't reviewed on the site yet, so we'll be reviewing that one on Saturday. And then coming up after that, I believe the week after, I'm going to do the Fantastic Four, the Roger Corman Fantastic Four film. So I've finally looked at that one. I finally watched that one. It's been a while. I've been meaning to watch that one for I don't know for how long. So yeah, good to finally get that one taken care of. I watched it way back when I was doing the solo episode for the for the DTVC Extra, when I was looking at the movies that came out in 2015 for like Avengers and Ant-Man, and I wanted to talk about that Fantastic Four. I thought I'd watch the Corman one finally as well to kind of compare those two. Also, we'll be looking at Paradise City, Travolta film and Willis film that Ty and I covered on a previous podcast episode, and also One Ranger, Jesse V. Johnson film that Ty and I also covered in a previous episode. So yeah, we'll be looking at those. Also, may have a surprise post for you on April 1st. So we'll see what happens there. Then DTVC Extra. We were talking about what we're going to do with DTVC Extra once we finished up Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Originally, I was thinking about doing Pam Grier films, but I ended up actually recording an episode with John Cross for his podcast, After Movie Diner, where we looked at a couple Pam Grier films. And just in looking at those films, I just thought that they were better to be done in a conversation kind of standpoint, because they aren't direct-to-video movies necessarily, but they also kind of aren't big screen kind of things either. So I thought they would just be better in a conversation capacity with somebody else. And so I didn't want to waste those Pam Grier films on that. So what I decided to do is go with the Predator franchise. So we'll see. I'm hoping for this Thursday. There's some other stuff going on this week. I don't know if you know, baseball starting back up again. So I'm hoping to have time to record it. But I have watched the first two Predators again, for Predator 1 and 2, to be able to record an episode. But the plan is to do the first two Predators, and then I'll probably do the Aliens versus Predator in between, because chronologically, or when they came out before the second two Predator movies, and then Prey. Of course, we'll be looking at Prey, which is a movie that I really, really enjoyed. So I was trying to figure out how to group those movies, but that's what we'll do there. So anyway, so that's what we'll be doing next on the DTVC Extras. We're looking at the Predator franchise, which I think should be some fun conversations there. All right, so that's pretty much everything. Of course, while we're here, before we jump into the podcast, I want to plug my novels. Don's House in the Mountains, available on Kindle and in paperback. You can pick that up. Follow the podcast link in the description. Also, Bainbridge, my short action novel. I'm working out the idea for a sequel to that, another Bainbridge. I'm thinking of going in kind of like a Showdown, a little Tokyo vibe with it, but also with a Cynthia Rothrock character, or Cynthia Rothrock style character in as his partner. So his partner Geary in the first one, he's kind of your classic action guy who's kind of, I don't want to say he's kind of, I don't want to say drippy, but he's kind of like a little bit nicer kind of guy. He wears, stuff from, not from Chess King, but John Bainbridge, the character, mistakes his clothing for the stuff his son gets at Chess King. But it's really kind of more like fancier stuff, but, wears like a mustard colored suit and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to maybe kind of have that character not written out, but maybe he'll be away or something, and then Bainbridge gets a new partner, and then also kind of go back into his past in the Vietnam War, where he's in special forces there, which we get into a little bit in the first novel, or the first short novel. So looking to kind of do that. It's going to start writing. I'm kind of starting to outline it out right now. Hopefully, we'll get that out there soon. But you can get the first one on Kindle and also in paperback as well. So definitely, follow the podcast description. You can see the links are in there. But yeah, why don't we wrap it up here, and we'll play our theme song here. So John Cross from After Movie Diner and Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures, play our theme song here, and then Ty and from Comeuppance Reviews will be on, and we'll be looking at Hollow Point and Operation Black Ops. All right, we are back, and once again, we've got Ty from Comeuppance on us. We talk about our two Tubi films. Welcome back, Ty.
Hey, thanks for having me back on. I'm excited to be back.
Yeah. And it's funny because for people listening to this, right, they're going to be spaced out, like the episode's going to be spaced out like evenly, like a month apart. But actually, for us recording, it hasn't been that long in between recording sessions. But
we just did one. It was
right.
Why can I forget? Oh, it was Assassin, and of course, The System, starring Jeremy the King Piven.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or
exactly.
I guess he was Ward Lucas.
Right. Exactly.
He sat on a throne. That's what I was thinking.
Yes, exactly. But yeah. People listening, you check that out. But by the time this episode's dropped, the letterbox list that has all the films we've covered will be updated with those two movies. So
excellent.
Because as we're recording this, that episode just dropped like not even a week ago. That's the term for podcast, right? Dropped the movie.
Podcasts are dropping.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So dropping like it's hot. That's popular. Oh wait, that's like 15 years ago. But it's
right. Exactly.
Snoop Doggy Dog. That was
That's
just go all in.
When I was in San Francisco, this past fall for like a work thing, I was like coming back from there was like a happy hour thing that I was invited to, and I went to that, and I got had a couple beers and some snacks and whatever, and I don't drink much anymore, so a couple beers kind of hit me. But I swear I saw two people getting their picture taken with Snoop Dogg on the street in San Francisco, but I couldn't tell if it was like actual Snoop Dogg or someone who just looked a lot like him and people wanted their picture with him.
So it's kind of like those Elmos in New York City, but it's Snoop Dogg. So it's just like
exactly.
Fake Elmos in a costume. Now it's fake Snoop Dogg. It's not a bad idea.
Exactly, because I mean, it looked like him. Like if you see there's that commercial for like the smokeless camping heater thing or something that he does the ads for. Yeah, it looked like that Snoop Dogg. I mean, it could have been. I don't know what he would have been doing in that part of San Francisco. I mean, he could have been just hanging around. He could have been meeting somebody or something. I mean, there were fancy restaurants in that area, so it's possible that that's what he was doing. But it was like I was like, oh my god, I think that's Snoop Dogg. I go, the idea of it was kind of crazy, just enough.
I love that idea. Plus, maybe he's waiting to like go in a car to do a movie in Menace 2,
exactly.
something like that, or. With Albert Punn's son or something like that, because Albert Punn passed away, unfortunately. But he's going to make Urban Menace 2. Now in more warehouses and looking more like garbage because of digital technology.
Yes, yeah.
And also a big pun. Wait, that's
well, both, right? Because his story behind that, Albert Punn's story behind that, is he went to Romania and filmed all three movies at once. So it's like Corrupt, Urban Menace, and what there was another one I can't remember. There's three.
The Wrecking Crew.
The Wrecking Crew, that's right. He
Yeah.
filmed all three of them at once, and then Air France lost an entire crate of film, and he had to like, but the distributors were like, well, you got to give us the movie. We don't care if you know. So like that's why that worst one is that big pun like Fat Joe, where it's just like a whole bunch of shots on their faces. He was
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
God. All
yeah,
faces. This Fat
yeah,
Joe, big pun faces, and not really a movie.
right, exactly. He said
I
like
wish
if
it
he
was a movie.
right, apparently he said he never found that other crate of film.
Oh,
And
that'd be great if he found it. He put together a director's cut. I heard he has a
right.
kicker director's cut. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I think he has director's cuts of everything because it sounds like the distributors would just take his movies away from him and be like, "Nope, you're not doing
Feel
that."
bad.
So he,
Oh, like that's happened like 10 times. Like once is bad enough. Happened like 10,000 times. Like
right,
like
right,
every movie you ever
exactly,
make. Oh my
right.
goodness.
Yeah, he because like I know like well like with Cyborg that one wasn't taken away. Well, it was taken away from him, but also Van Damme demanded in the studio. Golden Globus demanded reshoots, and that's he took the equipment for that to make a movie called Deceit. It was like he just essentially
Right. I never
used the
read it.
cameras. Yeah, but that was one. Of course, yeah, he re-released that one. I think he has a director's cut of Captain America as well. There were things about Captain America that he said he wanted to do, like he wanted the suit to be different. He wanted it to be, I guess, at that time, Captain America had like a kind of more of like a darker blackish suit.
Oh,
So it's kind of
interesting.
yeah, I think it's almost the suit that Chris Evans is wearing now. Is like or was wearing in
They
that
stole Albert Pun too. I knew that
right.
Chris Evans.
Exactly, right. It was like at the time, like Marvel said, no, you can't use that suit. You've got to use the bright blue one that we like. It was like made out of rubber. And so it was like he was like, I didn't want to use that suit because it looked goofy, but Marvel made me because they wanted it to be like the iconic Captain America. But I guess when
Right.
Marvel's making the movie, right, when it's Marvel Studios, they can make the suit whatever they want because it's their decision.
Well, that's like I think in the Dolph Lundgren Punisher. I'm not wearing the skull.
Right.
I was not allowed to do
Right.
it. So it's like,
Well, no,
um,
because yeah, the director of that one, I think he said like he didn't like the idea of the skull because he wanted the Punisher movie to be somehow like not comic book like.
uh,
And then he found out that everybody likes the skull. Like that's though the other thing that's interesting about not having the skull, right, is now that skull has been like co-opted by white nationalists as their
yeah,
symbol.
I heard
And
about that.
right,
Yeah.
Marvel had to get rid of the skull. So actually
Oh, that I
now,
didn't know.
yeah, I
So
think they ended up
the
getting
skull's over.
right. I think they got rid of it because
Okay.
they didn't want to be associated with that because essentially, they're just advertising that kind of stuff with the skull. So I think they got rid of it. So that means the Dolph one was actually ahead of its time, and it's
Hmm,
actually
interesting.
they don't have to worry about that. I think that's what happened there. So
Well, it's because in Command Performance in the trailer, besides rock and roll is easy, dying is hard. There's also the part in Command Performance in the trailer like show's over, and so it's like, every Dolph trailer you watch in 2009, there's like one last line by
yeah,
Dolph.
yeah,
You ever notice that? It's
I
great. And
do.
it's like I think
Those
Command Performance has the best one. 'Cause, of course the show's over. So it's like, but what was it say? Yeah, it was funny you mentioned the Punisher because or the Dolph one
yeah,
because I was looking up the villain of that movie, which is Jerome Krob. Did I say his name? Jerron
I,
Krabby.
I think so. Yeah, that's a good
Did I say his
question.
name? And I guess he's like semi friends of Rob Schneider, so he made Deuce Bigelow a European Gigolo, and then
Oh yeah,
he's in. I haven't seen the Deuce Bigelow movies, but I hear the first one's actually funny. I hear the second one's like almost funny.
I've only seen the
So
first one.
I never saw the first one. I think I saw bits and pieces on TV, but never in the full movie. I mean, not that I'm not interested, but just have to find a copy or it has to be free for sure.
Right,
So I guess
right.
he made Jerome made Deuce Bigelow too, and he was like, "I am very ashamed now. I will never talk about it again." And it's like everyone says it's kind of funny. I mean, like, of course, obviously his best movie is The Fugitive
Right.
because he plays Nichols.
Yeah.
It's like, what times I've seen that movie, so I know that. And look, what a great role. It's like
Yeah.
super Provasic. It's like had to make that Provasic, didn't you, Nichols? Well, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, because I think he's
Go ahead.
just doing Dutch movies now.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
fine.
he's gonna be
Dutch
80 this year, which is crazy.
He's 80?
He was
No
born in
way.
1944. He's going to be 80 this year. He's born in December of 44, so that's what it says on IMDb. He's going to be, which
Wow.
yeah,
a lot older than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's funny. I think like the older actors are the ones that you're more likely to see their date of birth because like the ones that are kind of like our age, they remove the date of birth, right? Because they don't want us to know how old they are because I think it
Yes,
affects what roles they
I,
get.
yeah, just like let me see if I looked up Jessica Chastain, as I always mention, she's secretly old. I think her
Right.
birthday is mysteriously missing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because like Vin Diesel, right? I think Vin
Oh,
Diesel's born
missing.
like
He's 60.
68. Right. He's good.
He's
Right.
almost
He's
60, man.
That's right. That's right. It's right. He was a little older than that. Yeah, and it's funny because he plays his character, right? Was supposed to have grown up with Michelle Rodriguez's character, and she's like my age. She was born in like 78, I think, or something. Yeah, he's born in 67, so he's gonna be 57 this year in July. He'll
Oh my,
be
he's well as Michael Madsen says in Sin City to Bruce Willis, "You're pushing 60, you got a bum ticker." So, like, like,
exactly.
which I love saying that line. I've been saying it for like 15 years, but it's like
Yeah, right.
I
Well,
say it all the time when someone pushing 60 and has a bum ticker.
right. You're gonna love Madsen. Yeah, it's
Oh,
funny with
yeah,
Vin
Madsen. We'll do
Diesel.
that soon. But go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say with Vin Diesel, it's interesting because that the ninth movie, right, is the one where he plays. There's a younger version that plays him. I think it's I don't know if it's actually his son that plays, but I think that stuff in that movie takes place in like the late '80s. So I think his character, I think what it is, I think he's younger than his character's younger than him, but then I think Michelle Rodriguez's character is older than she is, so it kind of puts them together
Wait.
as growing up together. I think that's how it works. I think it's they do the same thing in Hobbs and Shaw, where it's like, you know, uh, Statham, I think, was born in like 67. And the woman who plays his sister, that actress who's in like the Mission Impossible movies and going to be the new Fantastic Four, I think she was born in like the early 90s or something. So it's like, but they're supposed to be like siblings who grew up together in the 80s, and it's like,
That doesn't work. Just like the
no.
best age difference is obviously Righteous Kill, where they
Yes.
say that Robert De Niro is like 35 years old, and it's like, no, that's not true. I mean, they
Right.
actually said 50, but they're pushing 70. They have
Right.
bum tickers, so
Yeah.
it's just like, whoa, I'm
Right.
Rooster Archer.
When,
They're
when,
talking
when
about,
you see that stunt double who's like jumping down and
oh,
running,
we
it's one of the most amazing things.
good, yeah, we rewound it like 4 times. It's just like,
Right.
I mean, I know we talk about this podcast that we do about Righteous Kill a lot, but it really is maybe one of our best ones. I know we've said that like 5 times already,
Yeah.
but it
No,
was just perfect.
the feedback we've gotten. So for people listening, this is on the Comeuppance Reviews podcast.
Oh
We
yeah,
with
yeah.
with your brother Brett, we did an episode on Righteous Kill. And that is the one, like from a feedback standpoint, that's the one that most I hear the most from people. It's like, yeah, I
Oh,
really love
almost
that
100.
one.
I still hear it today.
Yeah.
It's like I can't believe it. What did I say about Madsen? Yeah, so I think coming. Well, we'll do this at the end. We'll do what's coming
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, and I
So
wanted to quick say the actress is Vanessa Kirby. Like I should know her name
Vanessa
because
Kirby. That sounds like you
right,
know her name. Well,
she's
the
famous
same.
enough, but yeah,
I guess I would have to look up her filmography. Doesn't like
yeah.
ring.
No,
There's no
she's
Vanessa Marcel
and
from
actually
Las
she's born in
Vegas.
88. She was born in 88, so she
88.
wasn't born in the 90s, but I mean she's still like 20 years younger than Statham. So and they're playing like siblings who grew up together. Yeah, because she's in the biggest thing that she's right now she's tapped to be in the new Fantastic Four movie, but the biggest thing was she was in the Mission Impossible movies. I think the most recent one especially.
I didn't see the recent one yet. I'd come to. I didn't like they said part one, but
I
I'll
know.
acquiesce and watch it. But just
Yeah, yeah, we need to do away with that. Like, it's like,
they
can you
hid
imagine?
that. Plus, this does not say part one.
Yeah, they always do the part. It's interesting because you think about like the Lethal Ladies movies, the Andy Sedaris films. Like, imagine if like when he was wrapping up like with Return to Savage Beach, if he was like, no, it's going to be Return to Savage Beach Part One, and then we'll do part. Like, I guess if it was today, right? If he was wrapping up something like the Lethal Ladies series today, he would have to do multiple parts for that last
That's
episode.
true. That's a great
Yeah.
point. It's like, the thing about I was gonna say about Statham is that well, I guess I'm trying to see how can I shoehorn any impression on this episode. I would I can only do the Killer Elite thing. I haven't really practiced more. It's like it's like
Yeah.
okay, Clive Owen, Killer Elite, great trailer. People don't like people. It's funny. It's really funny. People hate the trailer, like the movie. I love the trailer. Did like the movie
Right.
because the trailer had the scorpions, and
Yes.
Rock Like a Hurricane, and I thought that was like the best trailer I've ever seen in my life back in 2011. But still a good movie. And what else? Well, what have you been watching? Or I could.
Yeah, well,
Before we get
before
to the
I
movies.
want to quick say because that trailer, that Killer Elite trailer, there's like a Fall Guy movie coming out with Ryan,
Oh, the Goster?
yes, and I saw the trailer in, when when I was going to see the Marvels, so it was a while ago, but
Oh,
that trailer rips off the Killer Elite. Instead of doing
oh,
the
oh.
Scorpions, though, they do You Give Love a Bad Name, but they do the same thing where it's like kind of slow and like they cut it in and out and kind of just,
Yes.
yeah.
They do that a
So
lot lately.
so you were talking about how people hated that trailer. It's hilarious that on the one hand, right, people hated it, but there's enough people, I guess, that liked it. They ripped it off and thought no one would catch it. I guess most people probably didn't catch it that they were ripping it off. But yeah, but they did, or maybe it was the same person who did the Killer Elite trailer. Like, can you do the same thing but with a different song? Yeah, how about You Give Love a Bad Name? Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, let's do
I
it.
gotta watch that because it did like did they do like some like fancy kind of like the slow versions like you
Yes.
give love a bad name.
Yeah, it goes like doom doom. Shot to the
Yeah.
heart, do do, and then like there's
Yes.
people talking, right? Like you give love, and then do do, and people
Yeah.
talking, and then a
Bad
bad
name. Yeah.
name, and then they kind of fade, and then like show other stuff. It's almost exactly like the Killer Elite one, like when you
Always
showed
do
me,
that now.
yeah,
It's like the one that worked was Walk Among the Tombstones. I've
oh
seen that
yeah,
trailer, which I watched a lot because I had to practice my Liam Neeson impression. Doing all the impressions. I just watched Run All Night. I ran all night. But the Walk Among Tombstones trailer is they play like this kind of sad version of Black Hole Sun.
mm.
A great
Okay,
trailer. It's great. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's so perfect. It's so Liam Neeson, so well done. Which I hate to say, it's 10 years old now.
I know.
Didn't that just come out? All right, fine. Go by faster. That's fine. But it's like,
I know.
but it's a great trailer. It's I well I could do Taken, but it's like I can't even do it now. I don't know who you are. I see I have a gun pointed at your head. It's like I'm the commuter also. So it's like still need to watch Retribution. I guess he's sitting in the car. I think we talked about this a few podcasts ago. It's like great trailer, great title, but doesn't look like it's much going on that one.
Yeah, I it's I haven't seen a lot of those 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 ones that he
Like
did
newer
like
Neesons.
yeah, those newer Neesons. I've got to see them.
Yeah.
There's another one too that he did a Scorsese movie that I haven't seen yet
Oh,
called The Silent.
Silent.
Yeah, have
It's a
you
good
seen
movie.
that one? It's
Yeah,
yeah,
I think I'm semi caught up with my Neesons. I mean, like he's been making these kind of I hate to say garbages, but it's pretty close.
yeah,
I think he just because don't forget he almost got canceled. So like
right.
as I said in a few podcasts ago, it's like, well, we won't cancel you, but you got to make these semi cruds that might not go to the theater anymore. It's like,
Right, right.
okay, I guess I'll do that. So,
Well, the other
like
thing too, I wonder too, because his wife died, tragically the skiing
yeah,
accident. I
that,
wonder if there's almost like a nihilistic element too, where it's just like I don't care. I just give me some money, and I mean, granted, with Scorsese, he calls it this was the silence that or silence. That's the Emmett Furlow Oasis one as
yeah,
well.
I know.
That's what
Randall Scandal loves talking producing that one. It's like I produced
exactly
that. I produced Silence. Produced Silence. Good.
right.
That's why I listened to I listened to one of their podcasts before I can't believe I'm saying this, before they broke up. Randall and Lala.
Right.
I forget what it's called, but it's like dishing out Lala. And it's just like I got to connect this back to what we're talking about later in the show. So I can wait. So I'll get back to that. Just remind me.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah, because you were talking about what you were watching. It was like so
Yes.
yeah. So
Well, I watched Run All Night.
yeah.
But I rewatched it. It was better than I remembered.
Yeah.
If you've seen this, it's Liam Neeson and
No, I
Joel
haven't
Kinnaman.
seen these. Yeah,
Ed Harris. Ed Harris is good in that, but it's like he's not villainous enough for me. I mean, like there's because they're friends. Like Liam Neeson and Ed Harris are like friends from the past.
mhm.
And there's like a deleted scene that you see young Ed Harris with hair. It looks kind of weird. I can see why they cut that out. But it wasn't bad. And also I watched I told you I watched Rise of the Craze.
Oh yes, yeah. Without
Uh,
Billy Murray, it seems like that should
no
be a
Billy
Billy Murray
Murray.
slash Craig Fairbrass slash Nick Moran movie, but
Yeah, I wish because they needed those beeps.
yeah.
It's like it's kind of low rent craze movie. You don't really care. And I also watched Dangerous Man, as I told you.
Oh
And
yes, yeah.
even it's like, oh, but this one, well, I'm just doing all of them. I might as well just do Trump. Okay.
Just fix the throat.
It's
Yeah.
like, might as well do Trump. Might as well do all the impressions. But we'll talk about Alvin and Bragg.
Yeah.
Still talking about him. Stormy Daniels. Who else is there? What else is other villains? I don't know. Does he have like villains now? So if they made like a Trump poster, it's called Trump, right? It would just he'd be in the middle, but then there's all these like people trying to take him down. So you got like Robert Mueller, Fannie Willis, all trying to take me down. And
Right.
you see like
all the
far
capital
right
levels, right?
Who else?
All the capital letters, right, on his
Oh, yeah.
True Social thing, right? It's like, yeah,
Yes,
completely
that'd be
made up,
great.
completely fabric. Yeah. It's funny because this whole thing with the New York thing, where he's got the huge fine, and he's like completely legal. It was all completely legal. It was like, no, you were telling the insurance companies and the banks that your properties were worth like all this huge amount, and then you were telling the tax people that it was worth like none of that. It's like you really can't. Like what somebody said about this about the situation. They were like, you can't have three books, right? You gotta have one book. He had like three books. He had the book for the IRS, the books for the banks to get loans, stuff like that. And then he had the real books. And it's like, no, you just need to have the real books. You don't need to have the other books. It's like, when people.
Well,
But,
he's go ahead, please.
oh no, I was gonna say like what they discovered was that he doesn't really have the money to pay this stuff. Like he's supposed to be, he's so rich and everything, but he actually doesn't really have the money to pay this stuff. And that's like kind of what's coming out now. But yeah, it's crazy. He's using the True Social thing and doing like the all cap stuff, and his
It's
lawyers
funny.
are like, his lawyers are trying to be like, can we just pay like 100 million or something like that? And they're like, no, like you got to put up the whole thing if you want to appeal. And it's like, okay,
A lot of money though. I mean, like, but it's funny that he said, he has all these books, so he's cooking the books like a burrito bowl at Mar-a-Lago.
that's right. Yeah.
But what have you been watching? And then we'll
So,
go into our movies.
So kind of going back to the Seagal thing, I watched. I had been watching a lot of the Marvel movies, the mid 2010 ones for the solo podcast that I do sometimes, and I went and watched Fit to Kill for a review because I've been trying to do all the Sedaris films and get some more Julie Strain up and all that stuff, and there's a realization that like I think as much as like the big budget Hollywood films are fun to watch and all that kind of thing, it is really good. I mean, granted, we're doing a couple movies here for the podcast. Obviously, we always do like a couple of these like Tubi films or something like that. But I think it's
Right.
good to go back, like you were doing with the Seagal movie, to go back to like older direct-to-video stuff and just watch something that you haven't seen in a while. Because like Fit to Kill, like Sedaris movies are always good, right? They always work, and I think sometimes or like a Seagal DTVer is always going to be like a fun time that you can just
It was fun. It fell off a little bit towards the end, but I thought it was
yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, well, and especially when you've already seen it before, right? You know what to expect with it, and so now you're just kind of just watching it for the Seagal factor, or like,
Yeah, I was. It's
yeah,
okay, but like, you know what? I needed this movie.
yeah,
And it's like, you know what? I haven't seen the little guy in a while, so I missed him.
yeah, yeah.
It's like- so it was fun. It was really stupid. You can't help but enjoy it.
Yeah, I think for people out there listening, I think my advice is, you get so many options on Tubi, right? There's so much stuff available. And sometimes it's like you feel like when you're going through, you're like, well, I've already seen that. I've already seen that. Sometimes it's good to go back to an old standard that you've already seen before on Tubi, because Tubi has all the Sedaris films, has a ton of Seagal, ton of Dolph, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, because I watched it on DVD. I actually have a copy of Dangerous Man.
Oh,
I
nice.
didn't watch on. I'm not sure what streaming service it's on, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, I bought it for a good price. And it's like, all right, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
He was in it most of the movie. I mean, like, there
Well,
was some really bad dubbing in it. It's like, that was not his voice at all.
Yeah, I was thinking of a different one. So Dane, yeah,
Oh,
okay, I was what I
which
was
one are you
thinking.
thinking of?
What one was I thinking of? Yeah, I was. Oh, I should look him up because I'm trying to think of
What,
which one I.
Submerged? Are you thinking of Submerged?
No, I think it was. You know what? I was thinking of one from '06, not '09. It was. Oh man, I did it on the podcast, so I did it with Scott Murphy from All 90s
Was
Action
it
all the time.
Mercenary for Justice?
No, because we did that one as well, because that one I think is going to come up when we talk about
Was
Hollow
it
Point here.
Was it Today You Die It?
Shadow Man.
Shadow Man. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
He cast a large shadow.
Right, exactly.
But it's like,
right.
I thought that was okay. There's some really bad silliness in that too. Some garbagey green screen. I remember. I actually think I sent you a video once.
Yes, yeah.
That like, yeah, nice try there.
Right, right, exactly. Well, because the funny thing about that one about Shadow Man is that the woman who plays the American ambassador, she's a kind of a relatively famous
Oh,
actress.
Imelda Staunton. You know, she's in that
Yeah,
movie Vera Drake, very semi-popular at the video store when I was there.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And
there's
I,
in her biography.
sh yeah, and I guess when she discovered that she wasn't like, she had scenes with Seagal's character, and when she discovered that she wasn't going to act opposite him because he doesn't do his reverse shots, she was
Yes,
pissed. She was like, "What the hell am I doing?" Because it was, I mean, she'd been nominated for an Oscar, she's like doing these, and I think it was one of those deals where her agent's like, "Just go to Romania for a couple of weeks and make some easy money between, Harry Potter movies or whatever." But
true.
yeah,
Yeah,
she
it's
was
like,
just
oh,
like,
I'll do it.
yeah, I guess she
I
just
love
was
that.
like,
I would love to see that conversation there. Like, you're going to be in a Steven Seagal movie. What?
right.
It's like, I never.
Right, exactly. Because
Oh,
it's the calculus. It's just like we were talking about with Malkovich, right? Where it's almost like you're like going through your house and seeing like what things you could renovate based off
yeah,
these movies. Like there is like that calculus of like, okay, I'm going to be in Romania for 2 weeks, or maybe it's not even that long. Maybe it's like a week or not, a couple,
week.
and it's like you're going to get like tens of thousands of dollars or even more in some cases. It's like, because I mean that's what these movies, a lot of these movies, that's where the margins are, right? Like the movie we'll be talking about here, Hollow Point, probably like when you take away like the actors that you're paying for, like the budgets are kind of roughly the same with a lot of the low budget stuff that we see. So it's like, oh, it's easy, it seems like easy money, but then you get there and it's like this whole janky thing of like,
Yeah.
oh, I Seagal's the star, but I'm not acting opposite him. I'm doing these scenes with some double who's got like a bad ponytail wig on, and it's like, it's like,
Oh,
what
it's
am I
like
doing?
hilarious. I mean, I would love. That's why we need a time machine. I want to go get forget. Everyone wants to kill Hitler and all that stuff.
Right,
Boring.
right,
I
yeah.
want to go back in time to see Imelda Staunton act opposite fake ponytail guy in Shadow Man. That's why I
Right.
use a time machine.
Yes. I
So
mean,
it's like,
oh, it was 2 days. So Imelda Staunton only did 2 days, right? And
wow,
so if in the trivia they actually bring it up, and it was 2 days, and Seagal didn't do any reverse angles with her, and they were all done with a stand-in that was a Romanian film student. It says here,
that's hilarious.
yeah,
That's
and so
even worse.
she was like vocal, I guess, like in a lot of like online. I guess when people asked her about, because I think it was probably one of those, how like those that you do those interviews, like those press junkets for, like they do these press junkets for these big movies, and the person like tried to get, as the Brits would say, cheeky, and be
Yeah,
like, hey, what about that Seagal movie you did? And I guess like
like
she was just like not happy about it, and she said like it was disorganized, it was a mess. So yeah, so she wasn't happy. But it was 2 days. It was like, I mean, again, like, what did were you able to go on a vacation? Were you able to buy a new car? Like the stuff that you could pay for with 2 days of putting up with that crap. I guess there's a certain point where it's not worth it. I don't know.
it makes me think. You gave me an idea. Like let's go back in time a little bit just for a second. Then we'll get to the movies. But
Right.
okay, so you have Imelda Staunton with Seagal. How about some other people? Like let's say Faye Dunaway.
Right.
Oh, let's get like Faye Dunaway. Let's see if we fix them. Julie Christie. Let's get like some it was like some really fancy people in it. Opposite Seagal. So you get like
Yes.
and they get really mad because they're in romance, especially Faye Dunaway. So here she's
Right.
grumpy. So it's like a lot of the time. So because there's some story of her, and there's this movie called The Gene Generation. I don't know if you heard of this. As Bai Ling,
Oh yes, yes, yeah.
and there's I guess Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway's in it, and it's like I think she was, let's just say, grumpy. So it's like, having to even be there, like I only do one take. It's like so. I like to see Faye Dunaway versus Steven Seagal. Like who would?
Yeah, who would be
People
worse
like
about that? Right. And then who else would you throw into that category of doing that kind of stuff? Right. Like
let's see.
Burt Reynolds.
Oh, Burt Reynolds. Like Indifference. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Burt Reynolds. We have. Now we have Dakota Johnson. Have you seen
Right.
her interviews? I
Yes.
see Dakota Johnson versus Steven Seagal.
Right.
It's like I mean, I'm not sure if she's kidding or not anymore, but it's funny. It's just like
Yes.
you really don't care, do you? It's just
Right.
like wow. It's like,
Yeah, and I saw clips on Twitter because I haven't seen Madam Web yet, but obviously it's been killed quite a bit now.
yeah,
Sydney Sweeney, who was in that movie, she was on Saturday Night Live, and she was like, "Oh, you may have seen me in this movie or that movie. You definitely didn't see me in Madam Web." It's like, so they're all
wow.
killing Madam Web. They're all going for it. They're all
I almost
going.
feel bad, but it is like her hilarious indifferences. I'm still on the feel bad train,
Right,
but I
right,
mean,
yeah.
like, but I saw the interview, some interview I saw on Instagram because I scroll like a teenage girl, but it was an interview, and some guy's like, "Here's the first Madam Web comic book." Some nerd interviews like, and she was like, oh dear, oh great, yeah, she's really spicy and sexy, and yeah, okay, yep,
Right.
and goodbye. It's like she's not gonna live that down. See, if she had
No.
a sense of humor, or maybe she does. I think she does.
Yeah.
She was like, "Yeah, the movie." Well, she can't say the movie sucks, but she dances around it. If you ever watch those
Yes.
interviews,
Yes.
she dances more than like John Travolta and Saturday Night Fever. It's
Right.
just like
Yeah.
she can't stop dancing around how the movie sucks, which it's unfortunate. Maybe it could have been better. But I
Well,
hear there's some hilariously bad ADR from the
oh
bad
yeah.
guys. Like all of his dialogue's ADR'd and like from the back of his head. So that's funny. I mean, I gotta watch this for that.
Right, because
Love that
we're
ADR.
connoisseurs of bad ADR, right? With all
Yeah,
the Seagal movies and the Willis movies and all of that stuff. So
yeah, I
yeah,
love that. Yeah,
we know bad ADR. And the other thing too is that yeah, I think she when she was pitched the idea of this movie, she actually asked Scarlett Johansson what she thought. And of course, Scarlett Johansson's experience is completely different from this, right? Because Scarlett Johansson's like, second Iron Man movie, which is like one of the, biggest comic movies of all time, part of like the early phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And like she's it's like like Scarlett Johansson's like, oh yeah, this is gonna change your career. This is gonna be great.
yeah.
It's all
I
this
just,
great stuff, and it's like completely. I guess what happened was, I guess when they got in and they saw the script, like the actors involved, they were just like, what do we sign on for? And I think what
not to a dud, which is I think she's not gonna. It's just funny because you think she wouldn't live down 50 Shades of Grey, but
right,
I guess now she can't. Will never live down this movie. Like
yeah,
she got
and
away with 50 Shades of Grey too. She got away with that one. Other two sequels because they're dumb, but people understand.
yeah,
You know, which I think is funny because oh yeah, is it the first one or second one? I watched all three of those, and like Christian dies in quotes of a plane crash, and she's
right,
no Christian, no.
right.
That's almost worth watching again. And it's like no, but you don't like him. You're forced to love him.
Right, right, exactly. Well, because yeah, she it's funny because that's the movie series that made her big, right? And it's like
Yeah.
right, ridiculous. I guess when she finished shooting Madam Web, she fired her agent, got a new agent.
Oh damn.
That's how bad it was. But you're right. I mean, essentially, all what this whole Dakota Johnson thing is, right, is that I believe the third season episode of Miami Vice, Hooker by Crook, where Melanie Griffith is there, as
Oh,
a madam, or not a madam,
oh,
I think,
Madam
yeah,
Web.
right, exactly. But she and Don Johnson meet again. I think they rekindled their romance because they were married in the late '70s. But she was married to Stephen Bauer at the time. But I think when they were shooting that episode, they kind of rekindled the romance, got married soon after, and had Dakota Johnson, which I mean. That's one of my favorite episodes because it's got Captain Lou Albano, it's got George Takei, it's got Vanity, but also in that last scene on the yacht on Sonny's boat, when the two of them are kind of like hooking up,
Yeah.
Holding Back the Years by Simply Red is playing in the background. So it's like this really great scene and all of that stuff. And it's crazy to think that one of my favorite Miami Vice episodes probably gave us Dakota Johnson, who is now like just sort of, you know, doing this sort of like this, whatever the Madam Web, 50 Shades of Grey stuff that we're
Yeah, this is
getting
great.
here.
We're lucky then. We're very lucky. We should be
Right.
like we should be lucky. We should thank our lucky stars. It's like
Exactly.
it's like and as we always talk about on via message or this podcast, we're lucky to have these things. It's like,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because
and
I
I mean I
mean,
say that a lot, but I mean like it's true. You know?
yeah. Yeah, and I think they divorced soon after. I think Dakota
Whoop.
Johnson's the only child they had. So and I mean it's all nepotism, right? I mean
Oh yeah.
she's very good looking too, but I think like from an acting standpoint, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's hard to know like what would be considered star, or not, but I mean it would be hard to know like if she didn't have,
All she
you know,
has to do really is better work. It's like
right.
that's easy. Just why don't you go to TV?
Yeah.
Maybe like make like a mystery show, like kind of like The Fall,
Yeah.
with Gillian Anderson. And then that will pick up your career a little bit. And then there you go. And then you got to try a little harder. Also, you
Yes.
can't be like really like boring
Well,
talking. It's just like you can't like I will find who Madame Web might be when my mother died of spiders, or whatever she said in the trailer.
right,
And it's
exactly.
like, no, we
Well,
gotta
because
take it
that's the thing, right? That's the thing with like take like an Eric Roberts or like a Nicolas Cage or somebody like that. Like Nicolas Cage talks about when he was in the first National Treasure, how he's talking to his partner, and they're going through like the conversation about how he's deciding to steal the Declaration of Independence, and he's talking about how you read that in the script and you're like, this is ridiculous, right? Like my character wants to steal the Declaration of Independence. It's ridiculous. But he's like, when you're in that scene and you're talking to this other actor about this, you've got to sell it. You've got to treat it like it's the most serious thing. Like you're really doing this. And I think that's a big piece for some, especially for younger actors like Dakota Johnson, is like, when you're in this ridiculous situation of like Madam Web and you're reading the script and it's ridiculous, it can go a long way if you can sell it, right? If
Yeah,
you can be,
just sell
yeah,
it. All you had to do. I mean, like, but if you're stuck in a dud, okay.
right.
But look at Eric Roberts. Well, Michael Madsen does not care, but Eric
No.
Roberts and Nicolas Cage, they still care.
Right, right. But Michael Madsen, the funny thing about Michael Madsen, I think Tom Sizemore's another one you could say that about. Their acting level is so amazing. I mean, Sizemore's I think even another level than
Sizemore
Madsen.
even better. You can just watch Sizemore just say stuff. It's fun.
Right,
Madsen
exactly.
too, but he needs to, it's Madsen.
Yeah. I mean, you
Into
see
lazy.
movies with Sizemore where you could tell he didn't study the script. He didn't memorize the script and he's blowing the lines and it's still coming out better than everybody else that's in the scene with him, right? Like he's
That's
still,
amazing.
yeah, Sizemore was like another level, right? And like Madsen too, where they can mail it in, but like they're so good that like they can get away. I mean, De Niro's another one, but though De Niro, it's like De Niro's not able to hide his disdain when he's mailing it in. I think that's the problem. He can't.
I think the disdain came in. And just like trying to think of another person. Oh, Dean Cain.
He can't.
And what was I thinking of? Well, I watched that weird Trafficked movie. Well, we should probably get to that movie. But
Yeah.
Parent's Nightmare, which is really funny to watch. Well, it's hard to you can laugh at it. It's a serious subject, but you can still laugh at it because it's really really poorly made.
Yeah.
So the first 40 minutes are actually pretty hilariously terrible. Then it kind of falls off because it's like, oh yeah, here's an ending. Here you go. It was very Remington Steele. So, why am I comparing Travis Parent's Nightmare to Remington Steele? Because in Remington Steele, if you ever watched that show,
Yes.
it's all about the banter of Pierce Brosnan and Zimbalist, right? It's like, oh yeah, here's the plot. I don't know, the butler did it. It's like, oh, it's like I thought there was a mystery. No, the doorman did it. It's like oh right, it's all about the banter, and pretty much what moonlighting is too.
Yeah, but I think
I love that. I love that witty banter.
Yeah, go to the witty
It's like
banter.
you and I got this witty banter going on about Eric Roberts.
Right, exactly. Well, and the one thing I would say about a movie like Traffic to Parents' Worst Nightmare, I haven't seen it because it looks long, but the whole idea of trafficking from the sort of like conservative, like right-wing standpoint, it's a completely made up thing, right? Like trafficking is not like, some gritty like, immigrants take a girl off the street.
They're not immigrants in the movie. They're all African American.
They're African American, right? So there's that, yeah, that too, right? Like really, what trafficking is it's like, okay, like a girl is like born to like a drug addict mom, and she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna sell my daughter to and it's not like like rich families or middle class families who like oh, the daughter we got to go fight go up against all these baddies and get that's like kind of like almost like it's almost like a chain letter style of urban legend about trafficking that exists out there that isn't real. So I think you can make fun of these kinds of movies because they're talking about something that's completely, it's trying to be a serious subject, but it's kind of more fictitious.
So you got to see Christy Swanson's husband's acting in it. It's really bad. I mean, just worth watching just for him.
Yeah,
like Christy Swanson's trying her best, but it's like we have a gun now. We have guns. Like we're gun people now. That's what
right. Right.
Or we're gun Invincible now. It's really funny.
Oh yeah,
We should
it's
watch one of our movies. Right? Speaking of guns, Hollow Point.
I know we're kind of, yeah, and actually this movie actually does kind of dovetail a little bit because it does have some of those themes, but not like not about trafficking, but it has some of those
No,
kinds of themes.
well, no. But
Yeah.
also before we also were talking about Operation Black Ops or Op Black Ops.
So those are our two films. So the first one we're
Yeah,
talking about is Hollow Point, which is a Daniel Zirilli film from 2019, and has Luke Goss, Juju Chan, she's now Juju Chan Zeto. I guess she must have gotten married. And then Michael Pare, Jay
yeah,
Mohr, and then speaking of old Seagal, Robert Gwenville Smith, who people probably know better from Do the Right Thing, and other Spike Lee movies, but
yeah.
I always remember him as Chapel from Mercenary from
Yes,
Justice.
me too. Yeah, that's his
Yeah,
best one.
yeah, he's got the accent where he's like his English accent. He pronounces Chapo. Yes, my
I
name
gotta
it's
rewatch. Do I have a copy of that? I think I do. I need to rewatch it. You can watch more Seagal this year. But all right, so let's
yeah,
talk Hollow Point.
yeah. So Hollow Point, the basic idea around Hollow Point. So notice I named all of these actors except for the person who's a star, Dylan J. So this
Yes.
is another one of those. Everybody on the tin has a small part, and then we've got some
So
other guy.
over.
Which actually,
So
Dylan J is on the tin. He's just kind of way towards the back.
I couldn't
At
see it.
least, yeah. But the idea is that Dylan J's character. So there's kind of two storylines that are end up intersecting. So at the one point you've got Luke Goss, Michael Pare, and Juju Chen. They have this like kind of vigilante group where they get intel on somebody who's committing crimes, who's getting away with it essentially, and they go and either kill them or exact justice on them. At the same time, Dylan J, he's a professor who teaches about like the justice system, and he has this sort of,
Right.
what the movie would term a rose-tinted glasses view of the justice system, which is great until his wife and daughter, the wife decides to take a shortcut down a bad strip of the barrio in LA, and witnesses, they end up happening upon a drug cartel execution. And of course, they end up getting killed in the process because they don't want any witnesses. Jay Mohr is our killer. He's our
Yeah.
baddie in this.
He plays
And
Trigger.
plays Trigger. There's one witness to him committing the murder, and when that witness is killed, he is let off. And so then Dylan J decides he's going to exact his own revenge, but he's not good at it. So he goes to the house and just starts. He goes to like a party that Jay Moore's throwing, and he just starts shooting people. They arrest him because it's illegal to just go around shooting people, and he gets 2 years in jail, or in prison. And then that's when he meets Luke Goss, who gets him out early, teaches him how to fight, and has him join his group. So now he's got like a decision to make, right? When they finally go get Jay Mohr themselves, will he shoot Jay Mohr or not? That's the question.
That's basically it.
Yeah,
And it's like, it was very overrun, the movie we talked about a few podcasts ago. So
yeah,
instead of Dylan J as Corey,
right.
or instead of Omid Zader as Marcus Lombardi, it's now Dylan J as Corey.
No,
People said, or not people said, but it sounds like people are saying Dr. Blu-ray.
hmm
His name was Dr. Corey. So it sounds like Blu-ray.
right, yes.
No, Dr.
Yeah.
Blu-ray. It's like, but I thought it just wasn't that terrible. Let me think here. Let me look at my notes.
Yeah,
So, well, because he's talking about, we have due process in this country.
right.
The thing is, I don't like school scenes
Mhm.
in movies because it feels like I'm going back to school. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm done with school. No more school. And then I go, oh no, school.
yeah, yeah.
That's my own personal thing. But I did like, let's talk about Jay Mohr as
Right.
Trigger.
Yes,
As I call him, Jay No More Hair.
yes.
But he was good. He was really good. A very low key kind of villainous performance. It's not as wacky as Piven,
Yeah,
which I thought made it a scary role for him. But he's not in it enough. That's a huge flaw. Which
yeah,
that's the thing I messaged you yesterday. Like, there's a flaw here.
yeah.
Not enough Jay Mohr.
Oh, yes, yeah.
But what you get is really good. But there's a huge gap. Huge. Maybe like 50 minutes plus of no Jay Mohr.
Yeah, I mean, so the few things that, right, like the Jay Mohr factor, because again, this is a movie that it sells you kind of one thing, and then it kind of circles back to having more of this Dylan J. So Dylan J is an actor. I think this is like one of only a couple films he's done. He's of Sri Lankan descent, but American. So I don't know if he was able, because he did a movie in Sri Lanka as well. But
Oh, interesting. Didn't
yeah,
really think of his career. I should have done
but
that.
yeah, and he's like yeah, like he has that one scene where he's a professor. I will the one thing I will say about the school scenes in movies, the one exception I think to your rule, because I think your rule definitely stands is true, but one exception would be Rage, when Gary Daniels
That's
is
true.
teaching the kids about the word monkey. When he's
Okay,
like,
that's true. Even
what?
Gary Daniels does. It's great. If he's a teacher,
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah,
Oh,
teaching
my favorite
6-year-olds.
episode, LA
But
Heat.
yeah, yeah,
Wolf Larson dressed up
yes,
as Gary Daniels from Rage to steal
right.
footage,
Yes, exactly.
which I think is the funniest thing of all time.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, my comment about this movie is, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I liked it better when it was called The Sweeper. That's
Uh,
you know,
I
and
wish there was a sweeper. There's not much sweeping.
right,
Like
exactly. And I think
he more sweeps the jail than sweeps people.
exactly, and I think this is the kind of thing. I mean, Zirilli does this a good amount. He works with these two writers, Chad Law and Evan Law, who I think we've seen some other stuff like they do.
Awesome name, way
Yeah,
chat. Aw.
right, especially for this movie, right? But I think this is kind of a Zerilli tactic. Like we've seen it with some of his other ones, like Phoenix, for example, where he kind of takes a basic premise of kind of a basic outline of a script, that like a concept. Like for example, in this case, cops who work outside the law, right? That are vigilantes, and it's something we've seen plenty of times before, and so he kind of puts a spin on it, makes it kind of a low budget version of it. I think the other thing with Zerilli is he's better at working within the budget, since say like our next film we're looking at, Operation Black
Yeah.
Ops, because
Yeah.
I would say like this movie probably had a bigger budget than Operation Black Ops, but my hunch is that Zerilli put most of that budget into the stars, right? He probably didn't have as much to work with. He didn't have as much. He probably had about
That's
as much
true.
money
There
to
wasn't
work
much
with when he.
going on in the movie. I didn't think it was a bad movie, but I thought it
Yeah,
meandered a lot. And
yeah.
of course, you got. I like that he always plugs in that Mike Paré. You know,
Yeah, right.
you
Yes. Right.
who he plays. I wrote his name down. Damian Wakefield.
Yeah,
Which is
which
a
is a great name. I mean,
cool
one of
name.
the like, yeah, I was going to say about the Michael Paré thing, because I talked with screenwriter Tom Joliffe about his movie Renegades, which also Zerilli directed that one. And I guess when they got Zerilli on board for the project, like when because he was originally, I don't know if they knew right away they were going to have him direct that movie, but when they got him on board to direct, he was able to pull Paré in for like a one scene thing out in L.A. that they just kind of edited into the film. So he kind of brings some names with him, and I think Pare's, because we also saw Paré in Invincible.
Yeah,
Was he
not
in
much.
Acceleration as well?
Paré's an acceleration.
I don't
Right.
know. I was one. Yeah, I'm wondering if he was or not. Maybe he wasn't.
I haven't
I
watched
mean,
it yet. I'll get to it soon. It's in my pile. Or
yeah,
it's in
you
our
should check it out. So no, he's not in that one, but Natalie Byrne, of course. That was Natalie Byrne's
burn.
movie Acceleration, and she's really great in that. Whereas
Fantastic.
we get Natalie Byrne, we don't get a lot of Natalie Byrne here. We probably could have used more of her than Dylan J. I think.
She made no impression.
Natalie
Not
Byrne, right? Yeah,
nothing. I mean, like, oh yeah, you made no impression. It's not
yeah,
her fault. But I mean, like,
right,
oh, right, you're in this, and
right,
then
exactly.
I know when I was looking when I was what did it say when I was comparing this to Overrun, I forgot that Ahmed Zader's name was Marcus Lombardi,
Right, yeah,
like Vince Lombardi, much
hmm hmm
everyone's
right,
favorite
yeah,
football player. I'm not really good at sports, but I double checked Vince Lombardi. Cool name though.
yes, yeah,
Uh, Again, everyone has a cool name. Chad Law, Vince Lombardi. It's like,
yeah, I know.
let's see. I'm looking at my other notes. Oh, okay. So I would don't think I have really left on this one. Is that I guess I would watch it for free,
Yeah, that's
uh,
a big one. Yeah, big piece of it.
and then the funniest part I thought was this like kind of homie guy saying, "I need my Skrilla," and then Michael Parr says, "What's Skrilla?"
Yes.
That was clearly the best part of the movie. I thought.
Yeah.
Jay Mohr.
I mean, to be honest, like when it came to the performances of the kind of our people on the tin, Michael Paré, this might have been one of my favorite performances by him. I mean, when he beats up the guys at the bar, that was really great stuff.
That's some good Paré because that's like the Paré we wanted. Well, we always get in the
Right.
'90s.
Yes.
It was nice to have that back again because he still looks the same. I mean, that guy does not age.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, he must be doing a lot of Grecian formula there to maintain that exactly.
Wait, who
And
is the Grecian formula? Oh, is it Seagal? Was he say he was
oh
Grecian?
no, oh no, it was well, yeah, Seagal definitely he's Grecian
Wait,
formulating that the chia pet hair and be
yeah.
and
You got another
goatee.
example, right?
Yeah, but then also Dermot Mulrooney in
That was
Section
it.
8,
Thank you.
yeah, he
Yes.
just Grecian formulated the mustache but kept everything else gray. Right?
Section 8. I mean, wow, what a
Yeah.
performance that
Which
was.
which I believe that the guys who wrote this movie, that the Law Brothers, can we call them the Law Brothers?
Sure.
Yeah, they wrote Section 8 as well. So they,
Brilliant.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I think they write the same stuff together. Oh no, actually no. Actually, the Law Brothers don't just write everything together.
Oh, okay.
Section 8 was only Chad Law, not Evan Law.
So good. So good. Because I just want to get the meeting or the time for filming Section 8 and don't remember when he comes on set.
Right.
What you wearing there, buddy?
Right.
What you looking at there? Would you look in the mirror today, buddy?
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah, I look
yeah.
great. I have a Grecian for a mustache, a bow tie. That was the movie that really sparked up Dermot Mulroney. We said this already, but I mean, I'm excited to watch Lights Out. Have you heard?
Yes.
You've heard this movie?
Yes.
Scott Adkins and Dermot Mulroney. He's the villain.
Yeah, and it's also got Juju Chen from this movie, I believe, is also in it.
Why is this not free, and why can't we not watch it right now?
Yeah, because it just came out. Yeah, so Juju Chen's in it. Scott Adkins. Yeah, you mentioned Grillo, right? I mean, it's got like Mekhi Phifer, which every time I hear the name Mekhi Phifer, I just think of the Eminem song. Where he's like, "No movie and no Mekhi Phifer." I don't know. It's like,
too
yeah,
soon. I never, because they don't play the song in the movie.
right,
Whatever it's called, Lose Yourself.
right. Yeah, 8 Mile is the movie. Yeah,
8 Mile. Yes, 8 Mile.
yeah.
I mean, 8 Mile. I know people like 8 Mile.
I haven't seen it. I've never seen it. I just know the song "Lose Yourself." Yeah, being in the yeah,
not good.
That's
I mean, I'll give you a spoiler. So he doesn't sing the song in the movie.
right.
I thought he did, but that was like the big thing. Like, here we go, I'm gonna sing "Lose Yourself." Yeah. Oh, he just hasn't a rap battle with Mekhi.
Yeah.
And I will say that Dermot Mulroney's name in Lights Out is Sage Parker.
Oh, which is great. Awesome. Yeah.
And when's it gonna be? Or maybe it's free now. I haven't really checked.
No, it's $4.99 right now. So I mean, this looks like a Hulu one, doesn't it? This looks like it's a Hulu joint. Yeah,
for sure. Tubi.
Yeah, and it's directed by the same person who did Section 8. It's Christian Sesma. Yeah, so he did this one. He did another one called Pay Dirt, which is that one has Luke Goss, and like this movie, Hollow Point, Luke Goss has his English accent in it, which is good. Like, so directors, I think, are getting better at being like, Luke Goss, use your English accent because we don't need you to be an American.
I like Luke Goss. I mean, he's pretty good in this because I feel like he could have done a little bit more.
Yeah, they could have used him more.
He was kind of underutilized, the Gosster. Right. I just called Gosling the Gosster, but this is the real Gosster. See, Luke Gosling. Stupidest thing ever. Luke Gosling. That'd be amazing if Luke Goss just made sequels to Ryan Gosling movies.
Yes.
That'd be great. So it'd be The Notebook 2. It'd be Barbie 2. Yes. It would be Place Beyond the Pines 2. But it's like because he has to say most of his name. So
right.
People say he's going to win the people say such a boring statement. Yeah. But most industry insiders say that Ryan Gosling is going to win the Academy Award for Barbie.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Barbie. It's actually a decent movie. Don't make me sing Dance the Night again.
Right.
But just thank you, Dua Lipa, and your catchy songs. I know it's a good movie. I don't know if you watched it yet. Just
no, I haven't seen it yet. I probably will see it at some point. I mean,
see it for free. It's like
I mean, I love Gosling in Drive. Right, that was just
I like Drive. I have one. There's a good. Well, my sister watched Drive. Mm-hmm. And this is her review of it. Why does Ryan Gosling stare all the time? He doesn't say anything. It's like, you know what? You have a great point. Yeah. It's like, why did he stare all the time? Well, also they what did they say? Oh, Albert Brooks, fantastic in that movie.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely revelation.
One of the podcasts they with Brett, I think it's called Over Under. Mm-hmm. All the other movies. I do an impression of Albert Brooks in Drive. I don't think I could do it. Maybe I could do it now. It's like I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's like I wouldn't leave town. It's like, like right now. It's like he's so great in that movie. He should have won an Academy Award or Academy Award nomination for it. He's so great. But I feel like the part where he's beating up those guys in that dressing room. Do you remember this in Drive? He has like a hammer.
Oh yes, yeah.
I know this is gonna. I know this is gonna sound kind of. I want to say the word sadistic, but the part where he has that bullet and he puts it on top of his head, but then he puts it in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you've never seen a movie where he pounds a bullet in some guy's skull. I know it sounds really terrible to say, but that would have been cool. It's like I thought you were gonna do that because they showed that in the trailers. Like, oh my god, they're actually gonna do that.
Yeah.
No. But we're talking about Luke Gosling. So let's see. Luke got Pater. Isn't that have Val Kilmer?
Yes, yeah. So and he actually acts opposite his daughter in some scenes there. Also has Val Kilmer and I was thinking of somebody else, but maybe not. Maybe there isn't a somebody else. I did that one on a podcast episode with Francis Rizzo III, who does the Kilmer cast. So we talked about that one.
Did you talk about Blood Out or just Pater?
Just Pater. We just talked about Pater. Yeah, Blood Out is another. That's another good. Right? Because I think I gave him some choices, and this was one that we hadn't done yet. But yeah, I can't remember. I thought there was somebody else, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, the other funny thing about that one is it's an Oscar-winning screenwriter Nick Vallelonga. Or Vallelonga, maybe. He has a part in Pater, which is kind of crazy that you've got like an Oscar-winning director, or sorry, a screenwriter. He wrote The Green Book. Yeah, so
I thought it was a movie on a screen, but it's me.
Yeah, but Val Kilmer, you're right. Like, so his daughter Mercedes. So actually that's interesting. Because I did the Pater one, and then when we did Operation or Detective Night Independence, we've had both of Kilmer's kids on.
That's amazing. Yeah, you got Jack Kilmer.
Yeah.
There's a movie. It doesn't have Val Kilmer, but it has Emile Hirsch. I forget the title. It's like Pursuit or something.
Oh yes, yeah, Pursuit. That's also got John Cusack.
John Cusack. I hear it's very, very like ridiculous because it was shot during coronavirus.
Yeah.
I'm like saying on the pod, but I call it Coroni. But it's like I'm sick of calling it that. I just call it like macaroni and cheese. But I guess I hear there's a part where there's a really obvious stunt double. I'm watching it, but I want to see that part.
Yeah, so it's on Tubi, so for people can check it out. It's on Tubi. It's been in my Tubi queue forever. I've
maybe we can make that soon. Maybe like May or June. Well, I think we'll talk about what we're doing soon. But that should be on our list. That's a good idea. Pursuit.
Yeah,
haven't done Cusack.
We haven't done Cusack. Also got William Catt. You gotta love William Catt. Yeah, and of course Andrew Stevens. I didn't realize it had Andrew Stevens from thinking back to our erotic thrillers episode, right? The Night Eyes guy, as I used to always call him.
Night Eyes security. He's always Night Eyes security. Well,
right, exactly. I wonder if he gets it. Does it be great? Like if they had like a whole with the Marvel movies, right? There's a whole thing of like the universe idea and people like doing stuff like that. I would love the idea of like if Pursuit was in the Night Eyes universe and Andrew Stevens was playing his Night Eyes character,
he like just play that for life.
Yeah,
just like wouldn't it be amazing?
Yeah, just sort of lumping everything into the Night Eyes, the Night Eyes averse, right? You'd call it the Night Eyes averse, and just
here comes Night Eyes guy.
Exactly right. I didn't know this movie. You get I mean, could you? I wonder if you could create like a fandom, like amongst like Gen Z kids and like younger millennials, like they're those fans of like other stuff. It's like, oh my god, I didn't know this was part of the Night Eyes averse, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm literally crying right now. Right? It's Andrew Stevens in this role is like everything. I can't even
Steven, man.
Right. I can't even Andrew Stevens.
I can't even Andrew Stevens.
That's awesome.
What is that? But yeah, I should probably end on. We should end on that.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
I'll say it was okay. 2.5-star movie.
Yeah, I think the thing with these, I mean, I think like the interesting thing is like this is like better made than Phoenix. I mean, I think one of the things is Dylan J as an actor, he's probably better able to mitigate the challenges of a short shooting schedule than Eva Marie Saint was. Where am I getting her name right?
It's Natalie Eva Marie.
Natalie Eva Marie. I keep doing. There's no Saint. There's no Saint anywhere. Okay.
I know she has most of her name.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Natalie Eva Marie. I think like because she was newer to acting. When they do like the one take and you're done kind of thing, I think
Yeah.
because I mean Dylan J's stuff is still kind of silly. I mean like there's scenes where he's like screaming at
That
Luke
was hilarious.
Goss about the law, and like
And then,
he yeah, he should be in jail, not me.
yeah,
I'm the one in the hole. It should be him. And
I
it's like you're
laughed.
yeah, right. You kind of it's hard not to laugh at that kind of stuff. But it's a question. It's actually a good question. Like which would be better, him doing it right, and he's like really like putting acting into it, or Natalie Ava Marie being like, he should be in the hole, not me.
Oh,
I'm
it's
not the one.
tricky.
Yeah, I almost
I'm
feel
gonna.
like if he
I don't know. That's actually a really hard question because it's like he's trying. It's still funny. Neither. Well, she
right
was trying too, but
right.
I like stone crabs. That's so funny. I mean,
Mm.
I what a great movie. I would buy Phoenix, but I guess I have to buy Tubi and then it's like put it on a disc.
Right.
It's like,
I
is
mean,
that
Zirilli stuff. I think Zirilli stuff is available because I think I talked to Tom Joliffe about this because he has some movies that are only available on Tubi here in the States. But like
mm,
Germany is big on physical media, so I have a hunch that Zirilli's films are available on Blu-ray in Germany.
I
Now
can
whether
watch whatever I want on my Blu-ray player. So if that really is a thing, I would buy it. It will
I
have to be
think
quality,
so. I mean
but
I don't know. I'm just a hunch on it, but it seems like it seems like a lot of these movies that are only available streaming here in the U.S. Because I know like because Tom Joliffe like every once in a while if you follow him on Instagram he'll post pictures of like his movies that he's written on and he does a lot of like like Amityville this or like
what
he'll kind of
those?
yeah he'll like deliver a script and they'll turn it into whatever they want to turn it into but he'll post like the screenshots of some of the movies that he was doing and it's these kinds of movies actually a level below like with the Zirilli factor and so I mean I think with the names on the tin in particular I think I almost feel like yeah there's probably like a Blu-ray of this in Germany and Phoenix as well I would think that there's like a Phoenix Blu-ray. If not now, at some point down the road, it'll be
I,
available.
I gotta watch Renegade. I can watch it this week if I can remember. I
Yeah,
just have to remember. So it's
yeah,
like, if I write it down, that helps. It's like because I have a list of movies I see all year besides Letterboxd.
yeah,
Used to doing that, and if I just type it in now in my notes, I'll remember. But yeah, I
yeah,
guess I'm set with Hollow Point. I mean, if I was okay
yeah.
enough,
No, I
um,
mean, I think the
yeah,
Jay Moore villain was fun
that was
enough, but
good.
like you said, he was underutilized, and I think that's a
So
problem.
unusual.
Yeah, you can't have a movie where you lose the villain for huge tracts of time, and I think
Huge
the
track,
prison aspect
huge.
of it. Yeah, I mean, if you think about the sweeper, right? What made the sweeper good was that Ed Lauder was hanging out, like causing problems.
You got to cut back to your villains. That's the thing about these
Yes,
movies. You can't
yeah,
just let them languish forever. Like
yeah,
you have your Jay Moore. Okay,
hmm
fine. He was being evil. And then he's in jail. And then you cut back to Jay Moore. Like what's going on with
yeah,
that guy? His
right,
family or something. Then you cut back, cut back, cut back. If you cut back like 4 or 5 times, you would have had more Jay Moore,
yeah.
and that would have been big help. So you
And I
got to
don't
cut back.
think Jay Moore need to do anything crazy, right? I mean, you can have a
He
scene of
did.
him with his like his gang guys like playing pinball, and he's just riffing while he's playing pinball. Give us like 2 minutes of him riffing playing pinball. That would be fantastic. Or I mean, like there's the poker scene. You
Yes,
could do stuff
be
like
more of
that.
that. And
Yeah,
that I enjoyed that. Every Jay Moore bit you got was good.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I just wish he was just in it more. I would recommend the movie if he was just in a bit more.
yeah. I agree.
But
I think the
yeah,
message out there for people making these kinds of movies, like Daniel Zirilli, which I don't think he listens to the podcast. He does follow me on Instagram though. He does. I do. So I should post more of these on Instagram so he knows we're covering them. But
because we're covering and we're being somewhat positive. We're not being
right,
negative.
exact.
We need more Jay
Yeah,
Moore. That's it.
right. Exactly. I think like this is a technique that they could use where it's like, okay, it doesn't add up to that much more screen time, right? Like, so it's not like you're adding like 20 minutes of screen time to Jay Moore. Maybe you're adding like 5 minutes total, but you've got these little elements where he's just riffing. I mean, we think that Jeremy Piven did a lot of improv in the system. I think
Yeah.
with these comedic actors, you can let them kind of just go. Now, the one problem, I guess, the one risk that you have with that is that you don't have a lot of takes, and if they're making everybody on set laugh, right, you've got to cut and do it again, and maybe that's part of the reason why they don't want to do it. But I think I think you could have had Jay Moore doing a few like playing video games or playing pinball. The poker scene was great. I think you could do more of that kind of stuff where it's just like you sprinkle it in throughout the movie just to be like, hey, Jay Moore's here and he's funny and
He has
it,
the evil thing, and it's like I'm from the barrio, which I thought was really funny.
right,
That
yes,
I wish he did that more because it was
Yeah,
that's funny. I mean, I mean, it's kind of like being a homie movie or something.
right.
Like that's great. I mean, like
Yeah,
when he said that, I laughed. It's like, okay, this is getting good. Oh, he laughed.
right. Exactly.
But I
Well,
mean, like
I mean that's
that's
what's
fault. That's fault.
yeah, and I was gonna say too, like Robert Gwenvere Smith, like he's really good, and it's like he's one of those actors who's like he's like a really solid character actor that you can put him in little bits, but it is kind of interesting when you compare to like Mercenary Justice, where he gets to be this kind of over the top British character,
Yeah,
whereas
that's cool. That's fun.
yeah, this is more just like a straight ahead, like stoic police officer. You almost feel like it would have been nice if they gave him a little bit more like that. Again, just punch up
A little
his
bit
scenes. Like
more.
he doesn't do more scenes, but and then like Juju Chen, like really great martial artist, only really had one or two scenes. And I think that's the other problem too, is that you almost want to I guess those take more time, right? Obviously, that kind of thing. But it's like you'd rather have one more Juju Chen fight than one more Dylan J screaming about the justice system in a prison cell
Yeah,
scene,
exactly.
right?
I mean, that's probably a less expensive to film. You just have to,
Yeah.
just like,
And
but
even if it's not like a big fight, like even if it's just, the classic, right? The classic, like getting mugged walking down the street scene. Like, she's walking down the street and two guys like try to give her a hard time. And like in 30 seconds, she takes them out, right? And that's just like that one scene of her just like boom, 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 doing her martial arts. Again, it only adds like 30 seconds to the movie. It's another scene, obviously, that you have to maybe, you have to choreograph and all of that. But if you do it really quickly, kind of like Michael Paré fighting in the bar, like it's a little bit better to have that than Dylan J screaming about the justice system in
right,
in a prison cell.
exactly. So also,
Yeah.
I don't want to forget before you end on this
Yeah.
movie is Bill Duke.
Yes,
Didn't
that's
do
right.
anything
From Punisher.
as
That's right. Or is that Predator, not Punisher.
Predator.
Predator.
Predator, yeah, and that guy did not age either. My goodness.
No.
He looks exactly the same as does in Predator, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he's in Commando.
Yes,
And
yes, yeah.
Limey, which I think I just watched a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that lately, um, and he's like I'm a prison guard. You should be nice to the prison guards. Like, okay, it's like didn't
Which
do
is a
much.
very
He
good
was
point, though.
there.
Like if I was in prison and a prison guard was before, because that's one of the scenes that happens in the movie. He gets
Yeah,
beat. Dylan J gets beaten up, and for
yeah,
whatever reason, uh, Bill Duke, the senior guard, takes a shine to him and goes to see him in the hospital room, and he puts out his hand to shake his hand, right? And he's like, I don't think it's a good idea for me to be friends with guards. And
yeah.
it's like,
Shut up.
what? You don't think it's
Shut
a
up,
good
Bill.
idea to be friends with? If I was in prison, I would want all the guards to love me, because the
Yeah,
guards are the ones who determine whether the guys that want to, shank you and do
just
other horrible things to you,
yeah,
right? They determine whether you get that kind of treatment, or if they put you maybe in an isolation where you don't have to worry about any of those. You
exactly.
want the guards on your side. Yeah, that was like the weirdest thing.
Dancing
Yeah,
around like the frog in the WB. It's like
right, right, exactly.
it's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm surprised he hadn't had his own movie.
Yeah,
Well,
the WB frog.
movie frog, but I should probably get off. Which we probably. God, I don't want to
Yeah,
get off.
well, I think we can wrap. I think, like you talked about, like this is not a horrible movie. It
No,
it is, for people going in, know that it's more Dylan J than it is
then
Luke
Jay Moore.
Goss, Juju, or Jay Moore, any of
No
those
Jay, then
those
Jay Moore.
names.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of great names. You get to enjoy those great names, but know that, and I mean, I think the prison system stuff. To be honest, I feel like the system did a better job covering the
That's a good point.
the messed up prison system stuff.
In this
And
movie,
again, it's hard to get into. There's a lot to unpack with the prison system stuff, and so I think it's hard to do. But I think the system does it better because it's like actual like scenes of things happening. Where this, it's like, Dylan J, he gets caught up in the system as the idea, and he
right?
he kind of
And yeah,
learns the hard way how bad it is.
yeah. So I would say watch it's on Tubi. Yeah, watch it for free on Tubi.
Yeah, Tubi is the way to go with this. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one other quick thing. There's two other quick things I want to mention. One is that there's a scene at the beginning of the movie where somebody's like reading stats about crime in L.A., and they misuse the word attribute. So they say attributed as opposed to attributed to, right? So it's like
That's
attribute is the noun, attribute is the verb, and it's one of the things when I was teaching English as a second language that is like one of the most difficult things about the English language is that the word is spelled exactly the same, right? But how you pronounce it determines whether it's a noun or a verb. And I think English is the only language that has crap like that in it. And even like a native speaker screwed it up when he was reading the whatever the stuff was, whoever that narrator was at the beginning reading those stats, they screwed it up because English is a messed up language. But yeah, he said it's attributed to as opposed to, there's no such thing as attributed. It's either attributed.
That's not a word.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's either attribute or attributed. Yeah. So, but it's. I'm trying to think of other words that are like that. That like the noun and the verb, like depending on how you pronounce it, right? It's a noun or a verb. I couldn't think of. I know like one of the other ones was like the noun is like the ION, like so invitation or invite. That one there. But at least an invite is still an invite, right? It's not.
Yeah, that's fine. Invite's fine. Yeah, an invite for my party.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, but so there was that, and then the other thing is, I think Daniel Zirilli is the only director that I've seen the last 6 films of his that have come out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so Phoenix, obviously.
I've seen.
Yeah, and actually for the blog or the podcast, I've covered all of them except for this one. Or actually, we're covering it now, Hollow Point. So I've actually covered them all for something.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
you really should be listening to this stuff because you're mostly positive.
Right, I'm shocked. So Phoenix, right? Of course, we did Phoenix. Renegades. I had Tom Joliffe on. Who was the screenwriter for Renegades. We did that. We did Invincible. Acceleration. I covered way back for Dolph. We're doing Hollow Point now, and then Asian Connection. The Seagal film. That's him as well. So, and then 2 other ones, of course, that I've covered on the podcast that we've or not on the podcast, on the blog that I think we've talked about: Lockdown and Circle of Pain. Those were also him.
Right. Circle of Pain. I love Circle of Pain, as I tell it to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here comes my Tony Sheena impression, but it's like, see you on Saturday.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's great. I love Circle. I don't know why I love Circle of Pain so much because it just has what you want.
Yeah.
And Lockdown has what you want.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with Zirilli is that Zirilli, he works within these really tough budgets, but he's able to put together something that works within the budgets. And I think also his budgets to shoot with are probably a lot lower because of the names that he gets. Like I think he puts almost all the money into the names that are in the film.
You're Biling. Biling's probably not,
right.
It's slightly expensive,
Right, exactly. Though it is interesting when you think about it, because I mean, Johnny Strong, I think, might command a certain amount of money, but when you look at his movies, actually, they almost always feature a star who's either like new or like probably doesn't cost as much, right? So we have Natalie Ava Marie in Phoenix. So Renegades was different, right? Because Renegades was Nick Moran, who he's
been around.
Yeah, and that's a different kind of movie, right? That was a different kind of movie. But Invincible is Johnny Strong, and then Acceleration is Natalie Byrne. This film, Hollow Point, is Dylan J. And then Asian Connection was this guy who he's done some other Thai movies. Let me see if I can get his name here. John Edward Lee. I think the other one he did was Lazarus Papers. Is that what it's called? The one that with Gary Daniels? Yeah,
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, so like he that seems to be an MO of his as well, is that you get a whole bunch of names around a star that the star themselves doesn't cost as much, and so that seems to be another technique I think in terms of budgets for him, is that he can,
But yeah, so we'll wrap this up. Yeah, so I'll get ready for the next silly movie, which is Operation Black Ops.
Yeah, so we'll take a break to give everybody a chance to get ready for Operation Black Ops, because believe me, that's not going to be what this movie is. So exactly. So yeah, we'll be right back.
Okay.
It's the early 90s in LA. The war on drugs is raging, and Detective John Bainbridge is the LAPD's secret weapon against crime. Former Special Forces in Nam, he's a cop on the edge. When he and his partner Geary uncover a potential human trafficking ring, it doesn't take long before John Bainbridge realizes this thing goes all the way to the top, which doesn't scare him. That just means they'll fall that much harder when he takes them down. Part send-up and part love letter to early 90s action films, Bainbridge will take you back to the golden days of Canon, PM Entertainment, and AIP. You can get it in paperback or on Kindle and Kindle Unlimited from Amazon. Follow the link in the podcast description. My newest novel, Don's House in the Mountains, is available now. It follows Don Veazey, who after 20 years has finally made it as a writer, going from an AP English teacher to richer and more famous than he ever could have imagined. In the process, his wife Lois, feeling alienated and resentful of her husband's success, has filed for divorce, forcing Don to move to a house in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. With time alone to reflect, he's able to see how his new wealth and fame has affected his life in ways he never expected. Maybe the biggest of these is his new house, which is bigger and nicer than anything he's ever had in his entire life, but the longer he lives there, the more he gets the sense that it might have magical powers. But that can't be right. A house can't have magical powers, can it? Pick up Don's House in the Mountains today. You can find it at Amazon in paperback and in Kindle. All right, we are back, and Ty, I think you are sufficiently warned that we're recording by Skype.
I gotta get sense of that Skype, or you get in big trouble.
Exactly.
There's like a notice saying, "Do you can?" Well, yeah, I guess you're being consenting to this exciting audio podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, I for people that would record illicitly, because I know like they're like I think like some of the podcasters that that are kind of in our circle of podcasters, I think they do record separately from Skype. So it's like we do the call on Skype, but they have a different program that takes the recording. Well, like my old version of the podcast when we used Mixler, that was how it worked, was that Skype was just piped into Mixler. So Skype wouldn't tell you that we were recording. You wouldn't, it was, you just, I mean, the podcast went live and then it recorded as it went live. And then I just took that audio and put it on TalkShoe. So actually, yeah, I guess if you were really wanting to record somebody without them knowing it, you wouldn't use Skype anyway, but so.
No, I guess you have to, exactly. You're coming at you live like autograph.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And then I was going to mention about, Hollow Point. I have one more note.
Yes, no, I think it's a good one. Yeah.
Which Jay Mohr, when he's talking to Roger, he's talking about Viceroy butterflies and monarch butterflies.
Right.
Like, now is that improv or is that trying to be evil?
No, I think that's trying because this actually this kind of thing comes up in other Zirilli films. And so I think I was trying to. So acceleration does something. So just to give people an idea of what's happening here. Guinevere Smith is interrogating Jay Mohr after Dylan Jay's wife and daughter have been murdered, and they start doing this kind of conversation where Guinevere Smith is talking about how like Jay Mohr like pinned butterflies to like a wall or something like that, I guess to study them or something. And there's this conversation about how like one type of butterfly is poisonous to birds and another one just looks like it's the same kind of butterfly, so the birds leave it alone, and how he's like the monarch because everybody leaves him alone, right? They don't want to mess with him. Acceleration had a conversation like that. And I think, was that one also written by the Law brothers? No, actually it was written by somebody completely different. It was written by a guy named Michael Marino, who also co-directed with Zirilli. So maybe Zirilli added it in after, but there's a conversation in that one where Sean Patrick Flannery is the crime boss in that one. So he's doing the Jay Mohr role. And he has a conversation about like how lemon meringue pie is a metaphor for a crime operation. So it's like they do that kind of like Tarantino-esque kind of thing where they do these conversations that are kind of So, but it's something that happens, and I think Seagal has a similar kind of one in Asian Connection. So. Yeah, this kind of thing is known, at least now that I can say I've seen enough Zirilli films to say that it's kind of a hallmark of them.
It should probably be your goal to watch all of them.
Right. Well, that's an interesting goal because if you look like for example, I was looking at it kind of like you go beyond Asian Connection to earlier ones, right? Crossing Point is one with Luke Goss. That's probably one I could do.
Oh yeah, I did watch that one. Yes, Tom Sizemore.
Right. Yeah. Bangkok Rush I could probably do, but then there's Black Beauty. He does a movie called Black. He does a version of Black Beauty. I don't. Actually, it's got Luke Perry in it, so that might make it worth watching. The Horse, the Horse movie, it's on Freebie, but I mean, obviously it's not the kind of movie that would probably work on the site. But I guess if you're being as a really completist, you've got to do it. But the Luke Perry factor actually it also has Bruce Davison, but Luke. Sometimes that's all you need is just some Luke Perry in there.
But we should jump into our next movie.
Yeah, so kind of we'll kind of transitioning because I think we've got some work to do on Black Ops.
Black Ops. So you want to hit the plot, and then I'll get my notes ready.
Yeah, now this is an interesting plot because it seems like there's two different plots going on here. And so essentially the idea is that there is a Nazi separatist group in Germany, not Texas, even though it feels like it's Texas. And they've created a base of operations in an old concentration camp. Now, that's one of the few things in the film that is extremely consistent, that they tell you all the time that this is an old
Oh my
concentration
goodness,
camp.
I did 100 times, maybe
Yeah.
20. Like
Everything
I don't
else,
think really.
right, you could drink, right? Every time they say concentration camp, you drink. Um,
Yeah, I
Everything
almost
else in the film is inconsistent, right? You don't know what's going on, but this is definitely something that is consistent. And so the idea is that on the one hand, you've got I guess there's plutonium being stored there, and now I don't know that the people making the movie realize how hard it is to make a nuclear bomb, but there's a sense that they think if you've got plutonium, you could just make a nuclear bomb and be a nuclear
that's enough.
power, right? But
Perfectly fine. That's enough stuff for you.
yeah. So Tito Ortiz, I guess at one point was part of a special forces group that also included Cris Cyborg, tattoo artist Mike Ferguson, who does some of these movies, a guy named Mike Markov, who I don't remember what I think his character name was Parker. They don't list his character name in this, but he's like kind of a
No.
poor man's CT, a skinnier poor man's CT. There's another character, I can't remember his name, but also is another one that was part of this group. So Tito Ortiz is tasked with going to go. It's like kind of a black ops mission where if they lose, if they die, everybody says they never knew them or whatever. But the idea is like if they go and do this mission, they get their records expunged. So Ortiz is getting the gang back together. At the same time, there is this other act, person who's supposed to be like an FBI agent or something, played by an actress named Kelsey Johnson.
Oh,
Who
that was
I
hilarious. That was very Ava. I mean, Ava looked like Academy Award winning
Yeah, exactly. We don't even know. Like,
actor.
yeah, she's I guess in Germany. I don't know. Also trying to get this plutonium kind of on a separate track, and so there's sort of like this collision course to wackiness element that happens towards the end there, and then it's
Yeah,
a matter of like who gets out alive, and whether we even get to see them get shot, because that's the other thing too. Is you just one minute a person's running around, the next minute they're bleeding on the ground, and we don't know
yeah,
how that
really
happened.
messy
Right,
movie. That's
exactly.
part of the
So
funny thing about it. It's like, right,
yeah,
Schroeder. That was Mike Ferguson.
yes.
I'll go right into it right now, which is
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
we'll
let's
finish
do
with the
it.
plot, and I'll have my notes.
No, the plot. I think we got enough plot there, so I say
Okay,
go for
I'll jump right
it.
to Mike Ferguson for a minute. And most people don't do that, but I'm going
Yes.
to. Which
Yeah.
is, he looks like a younger, jacked up Sid Haig. So it's just like, picture Sid Haig, but really jacked up. And then
Yeah,
go
and
ahead,
I was going
please.
to say quickly about him. He's a tattoo artist who
Mhm.
is like doing who like is doing these roles here. I think he's filling the role of Sid Haig in these movies. I think he's essentially playing a Sid Haig. I was trying to figure out who it was, but you're mentioning Sid Haig. I think this is like the
Yeah,
perfect comp for him.
yeah. It's like, and that was hilarious. And let's go right into this. Also, speaking of fake Sid Haig or Mike Ferguson, so he's like a fake coach, right? Or he's a
Right.
coach. He blows his whistle, but there's no sound. So let's talk about this no sound, or I can go to that later. But
Yeah.
there's not a lot of sound in this movie,
Yeah.
or they're missing sound.
Yeah.
It's like, remember when Parker spit out his drink?
Yes.
No sound.
No sound. Right. Threw his
Yeah,
bottle on the ground.
yeah,
No
it's like
sound.
no sound. And then also the part where Tito Ortiz and Chicago, played
Right.
by I have her
This-
name, full name, which is Christiane Justino, aka Cris Cyborg.
yeah. But now her name, she divorced her husband where she got the. So, oh, no, you're right. Justino
Oh,
is the name. That's the current name.
Justino
Yes.
is her last name in real
Yeah,
life.
that's her that's her
Her
current
real,
last name. Yep.
I wrote it down because it said it in the credits. It says Christiane, Cris Cyborg, Justino.
Right. Right.
Or,
Because I think she got divorced sometime along the line. Because if you go to IMDb, she's listed twice in the credits. She's listed as Cris Cyborg playing
Mhm.
Chicago, and then
Right.
she's listed as Christiane Justino playing
Yeah.
Chicago. So
Yeah. That's also a hilariously weird mistake. And then
right.
I think sometimes she looked like a jacked up J Lo.
Yes.
Didn't say much in the movie at the beginning. She was like looking at like what's eviction sign. Like, oh, I'm looking at an
Yes. Right.
eviction
Just like
sign.
out of nowhere. Like here's this scene of her looking at it and being angry about an
You
eviction
think I go like,
notice.
oh no, not an eviction sign. But she didn't say anything because she has no dialogue yet.
Right. Yeah.
Let's go right to the beginning because I thought the video credits were very weird. Well, let's go even before that. Uncorked Entertainment.
Right.
Not great company. Because I just watched Alien: Reign of Man a few weeks ago before we watched this,
Yeah.
and it's from the same company. Maybe just go back to Corked and go back in the bottle. Like because there's something wrong with this company. They don't like do post production or something. Because the
I
video
think they just take it. So
they just
I'm
take it. Yeah.
yeah, because I think they're the I think they're the what do I want to say? They're the distributors Uncorked, I think. And I think they just take it. And I don't know like what their
Yeah.
criteria is. If it's just like, does this look like it's got names on the cover that we could sell this on Tubi? Sure. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Take
you
it.
know,
And Tito Ortiz is a name, and Cris Cyborg is a name. So
yeah.
that's enough. And because I like that's called Operation Black Ops. So it's Op Black Ops. As I keep calling it. It's like that. That's strike one, and then you got Uncorked strike two. What were the credits? What was that? Some sort of weird fire. I was
Yeah,
just laughing. I just
yeah, it's
started.
almost. I mean, I think it's like with me when I use Canva to like make like things for like blog posts and stuff like that, like or like for when I'm doing social media and stuff. It's like the same idea. Like I could probably go on Canva and create that credit sequence, and that might have been what they did. They might have just gone on Canva and been like put some fire stuff in the background and then add in the names.
Yeah,
You're yeah, I mean it's opening because there's opening padding too because you don't even know what's going on with this scene at the beginning where
I don't
these
know
people
what
are like
the
shooting each other.
hell's going. Yeah, what the hell's going? But
Yeah.
okay, I buckled up for this one. It's like, okay, I know
Mhm.
what this is.
Yeah.
But it's like, and then you have this slow motion punch fighting with no sound.
Yes.
Um, that was very poorly made. Like they just show people like circling around this
Mhm.
octagon,
Right,
and
right.
that was funny. And then there was that. Oh, I love this part, which is remember the part that like there's these two guys talking like next to like at a memorial. I wrote
Yeah,
down their names. I think it's first I said inaudible subtitles on
right.
Tubi, which I thought was funny. I think their names were Doe Flinger and Sony.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. I think you're
Flinger
right.
and Sony
I mean, they were like the schlubbiest looking
schlubs, whoever schlubs.
CIA guys. I mean, the one guy had like the comb over and the wind was blowing the comb over back across, which it's like, why would you do that to the poor guy? Um, the other
The wind
one,
must. Oh, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
what I was gonna say, the other one is I couldn't tell. Like there were like three different guys who looked like they could have been Jackson Galaxy stand-ins, right?
Well, because also I think when the wind was blowing, also blew away his audio mic because I couldn't hear what he was saying. And of course, Doe Flinger, that's better than Goldfinger.
Right.
That's like, that's like so stupid.
Yeah.
But that was a great conversation about what it's like the concentration camp. It was a concentration camp a long time ago. It was a concentration camp. This,
Well, 'cause it was the worst example of conspiracy bench I think we'd ever
yeah,
seen, right? Because that's what it was. It was conspiracy bench. I
the
mean, they were
conspiracy bench. Yeah,
right. They were doing the conspiracy bench thing, but you were just kind of like, what just happened there? I mean, it was the kind of thing you probably see on YouTube, right? Where like somebody's doing like a Batman fan film,
like a
right?
fan fiction kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah, and like two people are talking about like what are we going to do about the bat, and it's like, oh, we'll call
too bad.
in the Riddler or something, and then some over, some new actor who's like just kind of overdoing it with like doing the Riddler, jumping around and stuff, right? And then the Batman guy comes in. It's like some actor who works out, who
Oh,
like works out a little bit, but he's
but not really.
right,
It's just
right.
like
It's not selling it.
we all know who the best Riddler be if you can't afford Jim Carrey or other people. Matthew Lesko.
Yes.
He's the original
Yeah,
Riddler.
right.
If people know who that is, he was a guy you see on TV in like the late '90s, 2000s. He talks about taxes.
Yeah.
You just look up Matthew Lesko, you know who we're talking about. Like
Yeah.
we can lower your taxes, and then I guess he might have gotten disappeared.
Right. Well, he would scare the life out because if you fell asleep
Yeah,
watching TV, right, he would pop on at 3 in the morning with his commercial and be like, "Free money from the government," and it
yeah,
was like,
free
"Oh
money,
my
free money.
God, what's happening?" Like, I don't, it's like you fell asleep watching whatever, who knows what it was I was watching and I fell asleep, and then it's like
Yeah,
Matthew Lesko is just scaring me half to death here at 3 in the morning, like it's amazing, as a kid, you don't have more like heart problems from the way television was back then, but Lesko was a frightening sight that early in the morning. I mean, there were a few others like the Ronco, but like Ronco was a little bit more understated. It's like, hey, I'm showing you this juicer thing or this like meat spinning thing or what the meat
well, you got
rotisserie thing.
what's his name? Vince Offer. But
It's
see, I think Vince Offer is like late 2000s. I mean, like I'm going back to a
Oh
couple
yeah.
of similar.
Well, no, let's go. Yeah, no, I was thinking of the Ronco guy. Who was that guy? He
Oh,
was like,
Ronco.
yeah,
He's what I
but
remember from my TV, watching TV and waking up. Like, we got Matt Rulesko.
yeah,
You got Miss Cleo.
right, Miss Cleo. Oh yes, right.
Yes.
Yes, that she was the best. Like, yeah, no, that one's the baby father. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
right,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's,
I'm
let my
trying to
tech
figure out
go
which
in.
one's the dad. Oh, the one with the job is the baby father.
Yeah, yeah, baby father. It's just like let's think. Well, she passed away, but that can make a really good like TV movie,
Oh
maybe on
yeah,
Tubi. It's like
the Miss
because
Cleo story.
why not? What you get? Oh well, if she passed away, Della Reese would be the perfect
Delarice, yeah.
casting.
I don't know if maybe she'd be too big for this, but oh, why can't I? Oh, I'm so drawing a blank on her name, which is horrible right now.
Octavia Spencer, because that also would be.
No, because yeah, she would be good too. Uh, no, I'm thinking of this is the worst because this is like a really big name actor. It's like that age thing where you just start losing the ability
Oh,
to say people's names. Uh,
who,
Angela
who was
Bassett. Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
Because I
It's
think
like
she played, didn't she play Biggie Smalls' mom
I think
in the
she
Biggie
did
Smalls movie? And that, that
before
would
his.
required a Caribbean accent. So it's like we know she could do it. Um,
I think the other thing I see in the middle of the night, and it was Girls Gone Wild.
Oh
See that.
yes.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, then also the phone call once, right? Where like the girl who'd be like, I am talking to you, or like I'm waiting
oh,
for you to
that one is
call,
like
right? Just
adult
call
call.
me. It's like they're like like these women who are just like wearing dresses and like heels and like makeup, like laying on the couch waiting to talk to somebody on the phone. We actually did that one time. We tried it one time, and
Oh,
one of
really?
the things, yeah. So one of the things we discovered is it's easier to get through if you're a woman than a man. So my buddy's wife did it. So we were all kind of hanging around like, why did she called? And
That's
she got this
hilarious.
really creepy guy on the phone. And at some point, my because they match you, I guess, with other people. That's the thing is you think you're just going to be talking to these models. No, you get matched with somebody else, and so they matched her with this guy who just sounded really creepy. And at one point, my buddy was just like pretending to be like, like pretending like they had a bunch of kids and stuff like that. Which they have kids now, but at the time they didn't. They're just like,
Right.
honey, the kids are getting, we need to make dinner or something like that. And she hung. But so we got to see what it was like to try
That's
it. So
interesting.
yeah. So I guess what it is because it's more guy because I mean they advertise it to guys, but it's like it's more guys. So like if there's too many guys, right, they can't put them through. But like women, because they need more women, they put them in. And so it's like you're not like it's not like a phone sex kind of thing. It's like a matching kind of thing. But I think also the other piece of it is if you're a guy you had to pay. That was the other reason why we had his wife do it because it was free for her to do it. That was I think that was the bigger
That's
reason why.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's really funny. I'm happy you actually went through with that. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly. Yeah, we try because I still every once in a while I'll see one of those commercials if I'm watching TV late at
you still
night.
see.
Oh, I think you cut out, or did you cut out?
I cut out.
Oh no, maybe not. No, I think we're good. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't know I cut out. It looked like it was working.
yeah. No, no. Yeah, I think sometimes the audio blips there, but yeah. So no worries there. No worries.
Oh,
Yeah, no, but those commercials they still pop up from time to time, I guess.
yeah, you see them sometimes. Like I think it's like well now with inflation, it's probably like $10 a minute. But it's just like
Yeah, yeah. What was the other one? Chat roulette, right? That was
oh
one that they
that oh
created. It was
no,
like
I never tried. That's like no.
because you
It's like
used to watch like the videos that people would make doing like remember there's the one guy who did like the call me maybe thing.
I do
um
remember that now you say that. Yeah,
yeah, where he would call people and I think he dressed up like a woman and sang it like he had like the
I
wig and
remember
like
that now you say that. Yeah,
that's
Maybe
right, it was a big viral
Yep.
thing.
Yeah, because that's when you can. Well, what was that? It was like 10 years ago.
I think
You
so,
know,
yeah, yeah,
you
which
can
is
still
crazy
kind
to
of
think that
hang
song
on
was 10
to.
years ago.
My goodness, yeah, you can hang on to like a song for the summer. You
Right.
got that one, and you got another example. Now it's gone, but it's like you got like one song.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
maybe it was Gangnam Style, but it's like
Yeah, that was a big summer one. Remember, I mean, I think back to the mid '90s, like "This Is How We Do It," Montel Jordan. That was a
oh yeah, that was popular. I know Blackstreet, No
yes.
Diggity, very
It-
popular.
yeah, that was
And
yeah, yeah.
I remember
The
that.
summer song was one of those things where like you would just you'd hear it it would be on the radio all the time, and then like Yeah,
Yeah.
if you worked at a place that played the local pop station on the radio,
Yeah.
you'd hear it like 3 or 4 times, and a shift. Uh, you'd get so sick of it that I was like, what was it? Was it Chris Brown's "Run It" or something like that?
I might have to hear that one because I don't.
It was like,
I
"Is your man on the floor? If he ain't, let me know. If you see
I
I
might have
can
heard
run it."
that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was. 'Cause I
Well,
remember I was working in a
Jason
kitchen like the mid
Derulo,
two thousands, and that one came up all the time. For some reason I changed the lyrics to, instead of "If your man is your man on the floor," it was "Is Jermaine on the floor," and I don't know why I did
no,
that. And
Jermaine
so
Jackson, no.
yeah, like the kids that I was working with, well, I guess I don't know kids. They were like a few years younger, but they thought it was funny, so we were all singing like, "Is Jermaine on the floor? If he ain't," like that. So,
Well, what happened to Jason Derulo? Usually he sang his name in a song,
yeah,
and then he stole some other. He sampled some lyrics,
yeah.
and then there you go. One of them was popular. Let me look that up while we're talking.
Yeah, he had that one that was like, it was sung, was like "Get Up Next to You" or something. I can't remember. Like it sounded like a late '80s, early '90s like pop hit, that like an upbeat pop hit that like a Michael Bolton would have done, or like the way like the background sound and stuff was. But then he was like using modern terms like "Get Up Next to You." So I remember hearing, I was like, what is this, an '80s song? And then I found out it was Jason Derulo, and I was like, I think about
Oh,
what happened to him. I remember with my job, we were looking at using like TikTok and Reels as a way to kind of advertise.
mhm.
And so this one person was like doing this TikTok thing where I guess you'd have choices, and people would like run up to the screen, and then they would move off in one direction or the other for the choice. So I think one of them was like these girls. It was like six pack or dad bod, and it was like they would choose like one or the other. But I remember there was one that Jason Derulo did, and so I remember asking one of my coworkers, because there's one person who's doing advertising at our company. She did one of those things, and we were kind of like, what is this? This doesn't make any sense. And we discovered that like once people like Jason Derulo started doing the TikTok trend, it became passe, and they didn't want to do it anymore. So it's funny how with these pop stars, I think once they become passe, like once the kids have had enough of them, it's
I think Jason Derulo is over. Usually,
yeah,
think about, like, I know this is not Operation Black Ops, but
yeah,
let's go back to Paris Hilton and that time frame
yeah,
where she was everywhere, right? And
yeah,
then Kardashians came in, and she went away.
yeah,
But yeah, and the Kardashians, I think now finally have gone away a bit. But they
yeah,
were a long. They got a really good run. I think like 12 plus years of
yeah,
it
because
being around.
they
It's
just they what I think it was. I think they had the luxury. There's a few things I think for the Kardashians, right? It was one, they
yeah,
had the luxury of seeing how it didn't work for like Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan. So they had like they say the same thing about Taylor Swift, is that she got to see how it went bad for like Britney Spears and other pop stars, and she was able to like kind of craft the image in a way that she didn't have to worry about those issues happening. I think that was the thing with the Kardashians. They got to see it work and not work for Paris Hilton, and
it,
they were able to kind of make it
that's it.
work longer.
It's I know I never minded Paris Hilton. I
Yeah.
mean, she should come back. I think she's getting close. I think she's pushing 50 as a bum ticker. But it's like,
No, she's the same age as me, I think. So she's like 45, which I guess is still pushing 50, right? 45 is pushing 50.
she's 45. Well, every time, yeah, someone pushes it, yeah, you have that bum ticker, like Madsen says. But
Yeah, yeah,
uh, what's his name? Hardigan.
yeah.
More than 60, you got a bum ticker.
Got a bump ticker. Yeah, got a
A
bump
bum
ticker
ticker.
on. Got a bump ticker. I know.
I'm Bob. Hey, don't forget that Jeremy Piven played Bob
Yeah,
in the sequel to Sin City. So,
right. Yeah, yeah,
and what's right? I was going to say that Jay Moore kind of looked like Christopher Maloney, also in Sin City too.
yeah.
But all right, so what else I have in my notes here? Okay, so Operation Black Ops. Well, this movie is hilariously bad.
Right.
Let's just say that right off the bat. So I would actually watch it because it's so bad. But see what else I got here. So, oh yeah, let's talk about those two teens at like the cafe. It's like, am I CIA? I'm
Oh,
FBI. CIA, yeah. What's this ICE case for doing? I can't even do it that flat.
it's the most amazing thing because right, because so we have the two characters here who I don't even know how this works, right? Like
Yeah,
so
the hell was
so what happens is that the two movies start to kind of diverge, or the two plots in the film start to emerge. So what happens is it looks like the second storyline that's again it's led by this woman Kelsey Johnson, who we don't know if she is doing a flat affect thing because like she's supposed to be like maybe like a super soldier or something like that. I don't know if that's part of it or if it's just that's
She
her
was a
character.
super soldier. Like,
Right, because there was right because that was one of the things in the plot is that it wasn't just the plutonium, but in this former concentration camp, they were doing experiments on
That's
soldiers to
right.
make
Yes,
them right.
experiment. Yes, they
And
said that.
so I thought maybe they were hinting that maybe she could have been one of those, and that's why she was able to like kick a lot of ass at the end of the movie, which she's not really kick. I mean, it's just it's whatever it is, but
Yeah,
there's
it's a
so
movie.
for whatever reason, like she's captured by the baddies, and she's sitting in like she's kind of like the whole thing with like the bag on her head and it's tied to a chair, and then they take the bag off and they're trying to question her, and then somebody else like comes and blasts her out, and we don't even know who that guy is or what happens after that because she's in that scene. And of course, that interrogation scene is hilarious because they keep showing the same two guys over and over again. It's the same shot of the two guys. So there's like this one guy who's like asking the questions, and like two thugs in his group or whatever, two like goons or whatever in his group, and they keep showing the same face, the same look on their face, the
Yes, I
same
did
shot.
notice that.
They keep repeating it, and then we hear the blast, and like the soldiers come in to this one soldier comes in to save her. We don't even know what he's saving her for. And it's like the gunshots are all like just flashes of light on the gun.
Yeah, yeah,
The
for it.
sound is off on them. You don't know when they're
Yeah,
coming or when they're, it's all kind of a mess. And the next thing you know, she's in like this apartment complex where this gross, like, I don't, he's supposed to be a pimp. But he's again he's not quite Jackson Galaxy-esque like these other ones who are Jackson Galaxy-esque. He's just like this schlubby bearded guy who calls himself White Ice, and
yeah,
we find out
yeah.
he's a pimp.
Right. That
And
was it. What I call it,
yeah,
ice. Yeah, white ice. Like,
White
okay.
Ice. And he's like creeping on her or something. He's like and she like
Yeah,
gets him to leave or whatever. And then we find out he's a pimp, and she like he's like messing with one of his women, one of his ladies, and they end up in her apartment somehow, in this Kelsey woman's apartment. And she kills the pimp or she beats the pimp up. And the conversation's great because the prostitute, or the lady of the night, she keeps saying, "What do I do now?" And the other one keeps saying, "Burn the money." What do I do now?
oh
Burn
yeah,
the
yeah.
money.
Burn
What
money.
do I do
Yeah,
now?
burn
Just
money.
burn the
Forgot
money and
about that.
go.
Burn
Burn the
money.
money and get out of here. The next thing you know, they're at a cafe, which I believe is just somebody's house, and they put some chairs.
Yeah, that
Um,
cafe thing was so funny to me. I
yeah,
cracked up. I was like, he's a pimp. No,
right, right. And
wow.
so what happens? We've got the lady of the night who I don't even know. I think the actress's name is Jenna Pena. I don't know because again, one of the other things about this movie is when you go to IMDb, a lot of the actors don't have characters attached to their names, which is
No,
fantastic.
yeah, no,
But
it's funny.
Kelsey Johnson is there, like going through her phone and another phone, and she's talking to her like, "Well, do you know who this person is?" No, I don't know. I'm just a prostitute. I'm just a And then finally she goes, "You're CIA, aren't you?" And she's like, "What? What do you mean I'm CIA?" And you're like,
Yeah,
"You're
you're
CIA."
CIA,
And
aren't
it's
you?
like,
You
what
pimps.
is going on with these two? Like, none of it makes any sense. And then suddenly a Jackson Galaxy clone shows up, and this Kelsey Johnson goes to talk to him because he's apparently the contact that she is supposed to be, whatever his name. I can't remember what his name was. Again, he was just a Jackson Galaxy clone. We get like 3 or 4 of these Jackson Galaxy clones. Nobody's helping any cats. The only cat that's in this movie is that Parker guy who's the poor man CT. He's like living out in like this trailer out in the woods in Texas, and he has a cat that's just wandering around him.
I
There's
remember that. That was funny.
Yeah, one of the best scenes in the movie is he's just like laying on a lawn chair drinking whiskey with his shirt off, and Tito Ortiz is trying to convince him to join their crew again to go on this mission, and the cat's tail is like whipping around him while he's talking. It's just like you see this tail
Great
like kind
cat.
of yeah. I mean, the cat might have stolen the movie. The cat might have done the best job in the film. You got to love the
I
cat, but
agree. And the cat
yeah.
is over is beating the acting skills of Tito Ortiz, which is kind of easy to do. And also Cris Cyborg, which I thought, what's that stupid subplot? Was like they're like lovers or something like that. But there's that fake fight they do with no sound.
Right.
Tito Ortiz and Cris Cyborg. It's like,
Yeah, and the best part about it is because they're both like MMA fighters and they're both grapplers. Instead of them like kicking and punching each other, they're grappling. Like they're trying to like either, try to each get each other in like a clinch or something. So that's what you're seeing is, like the rest of the crew is in the car, like Mike
yeah,
Ferguson, Park, they're in the car
right,
being like, who'd you get your money on? Noah or Chicago's Tito Ortiz character is Noah Cyborg's
right,
character. And all they're doing is like trying to grab each other. And they're
yeah,
back and forth like trying to, and it was hilarious there. I think one of the things that this does bring up is that like Tito Ortiz is a martial artist. He's like all practitioner, right? Like he's as an MMA fighter, he probably could take like everybody that we know, like a Scott Atkins, like any of those ones, he could probably take them in a fight. Like maybe Michael Jai White might be tough because he's so big, but
mm.
Tito Ortiz would just tackle them and start beating them up, right? Like his ability to like wrestle and tackle is like next level, and that's why he was so successful as a UFC fighter. But it doesn't translate well on screen for us, right? Like we want to see the kicks and the punches and all of that, like like Juju Chen in Hollow Point or Luke Goss in Hollow Point. Like it looks much more fun to see like punches and kicks and like jump kicks and stuff like that, as opposed to like I'm just
No,
gonna wait for my chance to give you a double leg takedown and start pummeling you.
that's what's wrong with this movie. That's what I have in my notes, my 3 more notes, is that I think the movie could have been a lot better if they just fought other
Yes.
people in a professionally made movie. It's like,
Right.
because it's so junky, which I didn't mind. I did mind sometimes because like, where's the sound? But
Yeah.
I thought once there was no sound like 5 times, okay, that was just funny.
Yeah.
And I would like to see Tito in a better movie. Even Cris
Right.
Cyborg. Well, she actually has lines.
Yeah.
But for takes a while until about 50 minutes, which I think she sounds like kind of like Gal Gadot.
Right. Well,
I
that's the
have
problem.
I've been that's Van Damme, but like um she is. I watched that movie with Gal Gadot called Heart of Stone,
Oh yes. Yeah.
and then her like line in the trailer is like "Hang on," or no, let me do it. Hang on, or something like that. So it's like it sounded like Cris Cyborg. He's like, I have been made moving. That's Cyborg.
Right.
It sounded like a cyborg there. It's perfect. But
Well,
I wrote my notes say very slowly. So it's like, I have been made moving.
exactly. Right. Well, because the problem in her case, right, she speaks English as a second language, and her English isn't as good. I mean, she's
Yeah.
Brazilian. She speaks Portuguese, and so they tried to mitigate it. But I think it's always going to be a problem. I think going forward for her is she's going to have to get an English coach and be able to get better at it, because that's always going to be something that's going to hold her back. I think in these kinds of movies is that you know yeah, it's
But
unfortunate because it's kind of just the reality, unless she plays roles where she doesn't speak a lot.
which I kind of liked her voice a little bit because it's just kind of funny.
Well,
And
exactly. Right.
I want more Cris Cyborg movies. I want her to be in the main star in something,
Yeah.
or at least like maybe third lead or something, because that'd be just great. Um, and the funniest part, one of the funniest parts, then I'm out of my notes, is that when he was like doing that final speech, Tito, about what we're doing, took a
Yeah.
while for him to get through that, huh, buddy? Um, it's like I was like, I kind of felt bad. It's like we might die together. There,
Right.
victory, mine for you. It's just like,
Right, because this movie, the thing with this movie, right, is that we saw this with Phoenix, right, with Zirilli, but I think this is even worse here, where it's like one take and go.
yeah,
But that's
that's it.
really what
You
they're
need
doing
3
here.
more takes, maybe 5 more.
Yeah.
And then they must have smushed it all together because there was a lot of cuts. And then, when I couldn't help but laugh. I was like, wow, it's really that flat, huh? But I will say this. Um, I'm gonna recommend this movie just for some laughs.
Yeah.
But watch it for free, Tubi.
Yeah, it's got to be free. I think the other thing too, it's an hour and 20 minutes. There's 5 minutes of credits, so you're talking about a 75-minute movie
I
once you
love that.
once you
Oh,
take the credits
75
out.
minutes.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, well, because when you take the credits out, right? When you take the five
Yes.
minutes of credits out, yeah, I think you mentioned about the Tito Ortiz thing. I mean, there's a scene where he's with Mike Ferguson, and Mike Ferguson, as Schroeder is like, are you taking this seriously? Are you serious about this mission? And Tito Ortiz says, hey, we get revenge on the guy who killed my wife, and we stop a nuclear war. So yeah, I'm fucking taking this seriously. And it's like you're talking about this idea of like being able to deliver, right? Like take, like we talking about like Dakota Johnson, right? Like maybe not like selling it when she's doing the scene. I mean, for Tito Ortiz, I have to admit, like that was hilarious, but it was great that he just sold it, like getting revenge for the guy who killed my wife and stopping nuclear war. It's like that's where,
Great.
yeah.
If he just sold a little bit better, I mean, like, what this movie needed? Eric Roberts.
Yes, yeah.
Need one more name, maybe like, but they can't afford Eric Roberts. They can barely afford Cris Cyborg and Tito Ortiz. So it's just like, I'm surprised they could afford them.
Because that's what it would have been, right? Or Eric Roberts on a phone for a few scenes would have punched this thing up quite a bit. And I think you're right about the more fights. I think the thing with Tito Ortiz, like it's funny, if you go to Tito Ortiz's IMDb, there's a quote from a producer saying that he's going to be the next Vin Diesel, which let's not get carried away here, Tito. Yeah, right. I mean, I think what I would love if he's going to be the next Vin Diesel, right? If we're going to say that, I would love it if the Asylum went and just did, because like they have that Fast and Fierce movie series.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, which I mean they don't really have anything to do with Fast and Furious, but I would love it if the Asylum got together with Tito Ortiz and did their own Fast and Furious ripoffs with him as the Vin Diesel character. What would the name? So it wouldn't be Toretto,
Mick
right? Moretto, yes, I love that.
Yeah, Mick Moretto.
Mick Moretto, that is perfect. That is so perfect. Yeah. And then you could have Cris Cyborg. I don't know if you'd have her be the Letty character, or I mean, she could even reprise Gina Carano's character, right? But yeah, the Letty character would be interesting if she's the Letty character, or the Gal Gadot. You mentioned Gal Gadot, right? Because remember, Gal Gadot's in fact she could be the Gal Gadot character. Yeah, and I mean, I'm trying to think who the Paul Walker would be.
Maybe
Chad Michael Murray.
Perfect. He needs a job.
Yeah.
So you get Chad Michael Murray, you get Tito Ortiz and Cris Cyborg.
Yeah.
And Fast and Fierce 2.
Right.
And
well, I think
what's that?
So I think they've actually got 2 Fast and Fierces, because the most recent one.
Oh, another Fast and Fierce?
Yeah, because they have 2 Fast and Fierces. One of them has DMX. That's the one I reviewed for the site. Fast and Fierce. So Fast and Fierce Death Race came out in 2020. That's the second one. The first one, Fast and Fierce, just called the Fast and the Fierce, has Adrian Paul and Dominique Swain, which I haven't seen yet. I've got to check it out. I think it's on Tubi. I mean, I should just call. I don't know. We would just call the Asylum and be like, hey, why aren't we doing this? Why is this not happening?
Yeah, I think you got some races. You got a couple actual decent fight scenes, and I feel like Tito Ortiz could have a chance, and Cris Cyborg. Fight Valley.
Yes.
Well, that was like a masterpiece compared to this.
Yeah. And they're making a sequel of that with Cyborg in it. Fight Valley.
I've been checking in on it, but
yeah.
I will say, you said Chad Michael Murray. Yeah, don't forget, there's that movie. Hopefully, it'll come out this year called Desert Dawn. Did I tell you about it in the last podcast?
No.
It has Kellen Lutz and Cam Gidgenet.
Oh, right. Yes, you did tell me about that one. Yes.
Don't forget about this. I want to keep mentioning, because it's like, you look at the poster. You maybe look at it now live, and I can't tell who's who. So it's like,
right. Yeah, I mean, because those are actually Chad Law. We were just talking about Chad Law, who wrote Hollow Point. He wrote Desert Dawn. Also, Art Camacho co-wrote it, which is interesting. I don't know if he's got a.
It's gonna be a hit. And then some other movie that Cam Gidgenet, it's Kellen Lutz.
Oh, I think you're right. Chad Michael Collins might be better than.
No, Collins. He's my semi-friend on Instagram.
Yeah. So he's the one we can go to and say, like, hey, if you got to talk to the Asylum to get Tito Ortiz. You and Tito Ortiz do Fast and Furious ripoffs called Fast and Fierce, and then we got to do the Chronicles of Riddick as well on the Asylum, right? What would that be? Instead of the Chronicles of Riddick, maybe it would be like the Annals of I don't know, Eric or Martin, or I don't. I'm trying to think of Riddick, like what you do. Yeah, right. But but the Annals instead of the Chronicles, right? And of course that would give us plenty of jokes, because we could be like, the Annals or the Annals, right?
Yeah. I don't want Seth Rogen there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's so many names you could put in those too. I mean, obviously, Tyrese, if he's doing direct-to-video stuff, that would be hilarious if he appeared in one of them.
That'd be great. Oh, that'd be funny if he had a sense of humor like that. Like, hey, look, I'm in this movie, man. That'd be funny.
If he
Tyrese, I would totally do that just for fun.
Yeah,
Like,
what
all
would you
right,
name his character? Because he's not he could be he'd be Roman but what would be like another city, right, or something like that, like Parisian? You
yeah,
call him
yeah, yeah,
Parisian,
Paris.
right?
Like, yeah, like, hey, it's Paris. You're like
Yeah, right,
Tyrese.
right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, or Madrid, just call him Madrid. Yeah, I mean,
Madrid,
like,
perfect. Just
yeah.
call him
But
Madrid.
I love that idea of like him making an appearance in an asylum version of Fast and Furious. It's almost like the
I wish I could do
multiverse
that.
kind of thing, right? Like he's
That would
just
be so
yeah.
funny.
Yeah. I mean, he'd be like, like especially with Chad Michael Collins, where he can be like, "Hey, do I know you?" And they're like, "No, I don't think so, man." And he's like, "Did we ever like race together or anything like that?" I don't think so, no,
I don't
because
think it's not in my lifetime, man. And
right,
it's like,
exactly. Yeah.
but also it'd be really funny to have like Seth Rogen in these straight to video movies or something. It's just like he doesn't
Yeah.
do anything. It's like they want to be. He should be villains in movies, but his voice is so distinctly silly. So it's
Yeah.
just like
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I don't
he
think
can't
he
do an
could do
evil laugh.
pivot in the
That'd be
system, right? He couldn't do pivot in the
he
system.
could do visit, but he can maybe do like let me think. I don't know. It's hard because he
Yeah.
can't do an evil laugh. Except for
Right. I don't think he
yeah.
couldn't do Jay Moore either. He couldn't do Jay Moore in Hollow Point. I don't think he could pull that off either. I don't
Like
I
what he could, what can Seth Rogen pull off? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, what kind of baddie would he be able to do?
Maybe like let's see. What maybe he could be a guy behind a desk or something. Or maybe like maybe Frank Grillo on Mission Steel. Oh, how about this? Oh, Hot Seat. He could be Kevin Dillon in Hot Seat.
That's
My God,
uh,
that'd be so funny. I'm sitting in the chair. But it'd be like serious, like. So you
wait,
can't do the full laugh. I can do half the laugh, so it sounds more serious.
yeah,
So
I
it's like,
mean, thinking about where Seth Rogen, like where he could go in
yeah,
the future of direct to video. I mean, where these
yeah.
roles would appear for him. I mean, yeah, a hot seat like Hot Seat 2. Can you imagine that? Like if he's doing the sequel
Oh
and
my goodness, that
he's
was
doing the Johnny Drama part, right? Like, and it's the sequel. Like
why are
that would be the best ever.
yeah. He just takes over Kevin Dillon roles. That'd be just fantastic.
Right,
It's like,
exactly.
let's make
Yeah.
this happen. Let's give him $1 billion. It's like,
Right,
it's like,
exactly,
would you make
exactly.
Hot Seat 2? No Mel Gibson, just Seth
No.
Rogen. Maybe get Shannon Doherty back, or we get another
Well, you get
hilarious.
Shannon Doherty, you get Ava back.
Yeah, even back for sure. And maybe like another big name for some reason, like a John Travolta.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh, John
like a
Travolta, bald with like the thick eyebrows, as like
yeah,
the new villain in the movie,
maybe on Hot Seat
who's
2.
keeping him in the hot seat would be
Yeah,
amazing. That
yeah,
yes, yeah. We've
be
just like
perfect.
put together quite a few ideas here for some great films. I mean,
Yeah, we
you know,
have Hot Seat 2, and I think we also did we
Hot
did the
Seat
Notebook.
2, right? A series of Fast and Furious ripoffs
Furious.
for the Asylum. We didn't quite flesh out enough the Chronicles of Riddick ripoff, but at least the
That's a little
Fast and Furious will
trickier,
give us
but
enough. Yeah.
yeah, but something and
Imagine
then
if
he
you
could
got
finally
Luke
use his full
Goss.
name. Yeah, what's that?
Imagine if you bringing Luke Goss for one of them as the Jason
Great.
Statham character.
Oh yeah, he could finally be Statham like he always wants to be. Or
Yeah.
like
What-
he's always been kind of low budget Statham, so now he can be
exactly.
a
Yeah.
nice way. And then
Who would be The Rock? Would that be like the Miz maybe, or like another wrestler
yeah,
like
get
that
a
who does
Miz,
direct to
you get
video stuff?
yeah, you get a Miz guy, or you get
Yeah.
like who else are these wrestlers? I don't know. Seth
We would have said
Rollins,
Oh, Rob Van Dam. What do you do,
Rob
Rob
Van
Van Dam?
perfect, Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Hornswoggle because I didn't really get to say that out loud. But it's like I mentioned him because Matt, you met him, Dave. He loves wrestling, so I always
Yes.
mention
Yeah.
Hornswoggle. And he's like, yes, Hornswoggle. It's like, well, that name sounds not great. So it's like,
Yeah.
don't
I'm
say
trying
it
to
too
remember.
slowly.
Did I mention on the last podcast where we talked about the wrong side of town fight that I saw Rob Van Dam at Caesar's Casino?
I
Um,
think you did not. You mentioned to me via message.
right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those things where I was in Vegas in 2013. My buddy and his wife, they used to play poker a lot. So they would get like, comp rooms and stuff like that. And I had like just finished my English as a second language certificate program. So I had some time and I had some money. And he's like, yeah, just come out to Vegas for a week, which a week ended up being way too long. But one of the things was like they kind of had the place wired in that they knew how to go from like casino to casino to kind of like, play poker and get comp things, but also like how to get around. Like you take shuttles from one place to another or whatever. And we were going through Caesars. It was like late at night, and I saw Rob Van Dam. I mean, he looked just like he did in Wrong Side of Town. Like
So
the ponytail with the shaved
funny.
sides, the busy
Yeah.
T-shirt. He
Yeah.
was talking to somebody on a cell phone. So I mean, I wouldn't have bothered him anyway. But I was just like, wow, that's Rob Van, and he's just there on the floor, like he wasn't playing any games or anything. He was talking to someone. I think it was one of those things where like it was kind of late at night, and I think he was maybe like gathering everybody that he was with to go and leave, like maybe his wife and whoever else was there. But it was like, that's Rob Van Dam, and I probably had just seen Wrong Side of Town like not long before that, so it was like
I wish you could ask him about that. It's like that'd be so funny. What's it like working with Omarion? So you thought I was going to say Stormy Daniels.
Right, but well, it's interesting with someone like a Rob Van Dam. I think it could go either way because it's like late at night in a Vegas casino. He could either be like annoyed that you're talking to him, or like excited that you've actually seen one of his movies and you're not talking to him about wrestling, and just be like, "Oh, you liked my performance in that movie?"
Yeah, I don't watch his wrestling for sure. So
yeah,
I mean, like, damn. But yeah, that's a good segue into finishing up Operation Black Operations.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely like you're talking low budget stuff here. Yeah. This is micro budget. I mean, some of the stuff it's like it's like, oh, the guy got a good got a good drone shot. So let's just use that same drone shot 3 or 4 times.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Like, I mean, it was like 100 times.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know how much film was actually shot here. Yeah. No, I was gonna say I don't know how much film was actually shot here.
No.
Yeah, right. It's like mostly just recycled stuff.
It's reused stuff. It's like such a reuse. I mean, I'm gonna look into this. I'm looking to Uncorked Entertainment a bit more.
Yeah, because it's almost like
it's hilariously unimpressed.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost like Uncorked is just making future riff tracks movies. It's like they're just making movies for like
idea.
Yeah,
let's try to make a better movie. This is a funny movie to watch everybody. So
yeah,
it's blast, especially Tito Ortiz's speech.
Mm-hmm.
Editing those guys in the conspiracy bench. So I'm gonna recommend the movie just for the pure silliness factor.
Yeah, and the Jackson Galaxy clones, which is kind of like it's like one of them gets assassinated. It's almost like yeah, you didn't help my cat at all. Blam, it's like my cat still pisses on everything. Blam, it's like thanks a lot, Jackson Galaxy. It's like,
a great name, Jackson Galaxy. But that's all I have for my notes. So I'll get
I think between the two, like Hollow Point is kind of a more standard like time killer, like you watch it.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could probably watch that.
Yeah, this is more like do you want to watch something low budget and get a kick out of it? And it might even be something like it's like let's watch it with a group of friends. And the other thing too, I would say if you're watching this with a group of friends and you're like making jokes about it, but then at the same time maybe you're having conversations, things like that, and you leave the movie and come back, just know that if you think you missed something, you didn't. So like for example,
there's no sound.
Right, there's no sound, but also the editing is really rough. So it's like if you think like a character was running out of a building 1 minute and the next minute he's lying on the ground with a bullet hole in him, like close to dying, and you think, oh, I missed where he got shot. Let me rewind back. No, don't rewind back. You didn't miss where he got shot. It just cut. Yeah. Right. It just cut like that. So that's probably one warning I would say is that this is a fun movie to kind of joke about with your friends and kind of riff on. But know that if you get into a conversation about something and you're not paying attention and you see something, you think you missed something, you probably didn't miss anything. You probably it just seems that way.
Can't agree more. So like I guess I have all my notes. I'm ready for our spotlight on a fight bit. If you're ready.
So our spotlight on a fight this time through is we're looking at the Stone Cold Steve Austin Stallone fight from the first Expendables movie, which it starts off, of course, with Stallone being interrogated, where one of the one of the goons is like trying to strangle Stallone with like this big thick white rope, and Stallone is really selling it. I mean, like the Botox and the eyes are like bulging while he's selling it.
They're bulging. They're like
and
he sells it. Stallone knows how to sell this. This is good.
Yeah, exactly. He's completely invested, and then you've got you've got Gary Daniels who's like, it's too bad you got that Kevlar vest, otherwise I'd be able to something. And he's like unzipping the vest and like punching him, and it's like, oh. And it's like, ooh, that's better. That's better. Yeah. And so then it's like they're ready to like, I guess like almost like finish him off, and that's when the crew shows up, right? Everybody shows up, and it's like a big shootout thing, and Stone Cold Steve Austin is about to get away, and Stallone chases after him. Actually, like tackles him with the white rope that he
Yeah,
that
that was
yeah. But we don't really do anything with the rope, and then we get the fight scene. And I gotta say, I mean, this is kind of a knockdown, drag them out kind of fight scene where it's like tackling, smashing against walls, being thrown around. Punches, definitely some punches and kicks being thrown, but also it's like a lot of like kind of just like two guys really getting after it. And I
yeah,
gotta say, the one thing I thought about this, I don't know what your thoughts were, but seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin fight Stallone, there's almost a sense that Stone Cold Steve Austin would have been a great, if he'd been older, he would have been a great like boxer, like baddie boxer for Stallone to fight in a Rocky film. That was kind of the way I saw the two of them. I don't know what you thought.
well, it's interesting because I don't usually think of Stone Cold's a boxer, so like any more wrestling kind of movies would be great. Just like,
Yes.
and this was good because I know I've probably said this, but when this movie was coming out in 2010, and every day there's like new information, like Stone Cold's gonna be in it, Dolph Ziggler is gonna be in it, I'm gonna be in it, and it's like you have everyone you want, and then it comes out and it delivers,
Yes.
and it's like because I think I was talking about this when this came out. It's like I think Dolph Lundgren's gonna fight Jet Li. It's like they did. It's
Yeah.
like it's like I think Stallone's gonna fight Stone Cold. They do. It's just like,
Yes.
it's like every fight you wanted is in this movie. So you got Stone Cold versus Stallone. I think you also have Randy Couture versus Stone Cold.
Yes, I think so. I think it was kind of a wrestling thing towards the end that they have. Yeah.
Kind of cool. And then you got, of course, Jet Li, Jason Statham versus Gary Daniels, which I was like running around the aisles. It's just it's like, it's like, I can't believe how awesome this is. And then, of course, then you got the ultimate scene of Expendables, which is you have Dolph Lundgren, Eric Roberts, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Gary Daniels all in one scene together.
Yeah. Yeah. We were
I'm
talking
so
about
flabbergasted by that.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this how like the first two Expendables movies get it so right,
Yeah.
and I was trying to come up with a good analogy, and it was almost like, okay, you open a pizza place and you make the best pepperoni pizza ever, right? Like the
Right.
sauce, the crust, the cheese. It's the kind of thing that like the Barstool guy is like, like
Oh,
Portnoy.
Dave Portnoy's?
He's giving it like an 8. Like he's like,
Yeah.
but notice I don't. Whenever I watch one of those, whenever he gives the score, he does it like a question. He's like takes some bites and he's like, oh, 8.2, I guess. 8.2.
Well, it's funny about Dave Portnoy because he came to our pizza place, my R, but by me, Old World, which is in Hamden, which I
Right.
live. And he also like, oh, very good. Oh, pizza. And then he plays called Fuego, which is not really near me, but it's like, like a 40-minute drive, kind of far.
Yeah.
And like people went there just because of his pizza review there. So it was packed.
Yeah.
So it was like, but the guy from Old World, who I know, kind of, it's like, "Is a good pizza, man? Is a good pizza?" Like, don't bother Dave. It's like, it's like, it's like he was like, he was silly. But Fuego is pretty good, but he can't beat Old World.
Yeah.
We're listening. I know because Paul Giamatti loves New Haven pizza. He's been talking about it like every 2 seconds now. It's just like, what kind of pizza you like, Paul? I'm like, I can't do Paul Giamatti impression because he has two voices, but it's just like I like that New Haven pizza. I like that Pepe's. Now it's called Pepe's, but that's fine. But it's like that Pepe's is pretty good. So it's funny to hear him talk about Pepe's or Pepe's. It's like I'm not a Sally's guy. You might hear about this sometimes in Pizza Wars. But it's like, oh yeah. So tell me your analogy. So sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no. Well, so I was gonna say, so it's like, okay, so you've opened this pizza place that has like the best pepperoni that it's all really great, right? And that's what you do for 2 years, right? Is you make the best pizza ever. You get all the great awards. The plates, the lines are out the door. Everybody, and then you decide, you know what? Instead of making this really great pepperoni and cheese, what if we try goat and beets, right? Goat cheese and beet pizza.
Yeah, beet pizza.
Let's do that. And all of the customers show up and they're like, wait, what is this? And they try it. But it's like the beets aren't that good as opposed to like the best pepperoni ever. The sauce, it's like, it doesn't, and it's like kind of that's what Stallone did with Expendables 3 and 4 is he just was like, okay, I can make pepperoni and cheese. It's great. I know it's good. I know I can make it. I can make a pepperoni and cheese. I want to try goat cheese and beet. That's what I want to try. I want to make goat cheese and beet. And then it's like, people are like, what is this? Like, what did you do? And I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I mean, the formula is here to make great movies, right? The Expendables 1 and 2, you just keep making 1 and 2 with different actors, different like
Right,
names for the baddie and stuff. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't take 9-year gaps. Also, be very
Right. Well, that's another piece of it. Yeah. But you make a great point, because I think it was one of those things that I had forgotten about this movie because, of course, my last impression of the Expendables was 3, and then I saw, I saw them all again before 4, and I was like, man, the first Expendables, the first 2 movies were just they're that rare occasion where something is as good as anticipated. It may be even
you
better.
never get that really, and
Yeah.
definitely not anymore. But especially for Expendables 1, which is like yes, obviously we know it's a ridiculous movie, but
Yeah.
it delivered everything you ever wanted at that time frame.
Yeah.
So we're lucky to have that, and it's like, and then you got 2 fantastic. What's like, I want my money's worth. Oh, see, that it's amazing. I'll
Yeah.
man you up to Van Damme.
Yes. Right. Well, because even that's like amazing too, because it was like, so Van Damme, I guess apparently he was offered a small part in the first Expendables,
I
and he
heard
looked,
about that.
yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I don't like my part, so I don't want to do it." And then it was such a huge success because I think everybody that was involved I mean, Dolph is probably the one who got the biggest bump, but I think even like Stallone was in demand again. Like everybody got a bump from the movie, so he's like, "Okay, I really want to be involved." And Stallone's like, "Okay, well, if you're doing this, you got to be the baddie," and he plays like the best baddie ever.
He's
Uh,
fantastic. He's fantastic. I'm not even kidding. He's
yeah,
really great in the movie. It's like
yeah,
he's out acting everybody. He's just has all the great lines. He's so great in that fight. Like, think about it. Right? We're getting a fight. I know I was just talking about this 10 years ago, but
right.
Stallone and Van Damme are fighting in a
Yes,
movie.
yes.
That's amazing. I mean, I
Well,
said that back in 2012, but it's just like that's like a dream come true. Now, in Expendables 3, yeah, that's cool. Stallone and Mel Gibson are there, but they're not fighting.
right.
The movie, they just like maybe a couple of punches. How about, wouldn't it be? I would love that's a great idea too, but it
Mhm.
wasn't really utilized well. Fourth one, I haven't seen yet. Sorry,
Right.
Frank. I'm believing in your opinion, Frank.
Yeah, you have to. I think you have to watch the fourth one just to say you've seen it. But I would wait till probably it's a
Maybe
free streamer or something
I'll wait
because
for it on Tubi, and
yeah,
I'll look forward to the ads. But
yeah.
it's just like,
I saw it in the theater and I don't think it was worth that much. I mean, kind of going back, kind of like what you're talking about, the Van Damme fight. It's that this fight here, the Austin Stallone
yeah,
fight,
let's go
was
back to that.
so yeah, it's so good, and the
Yeah.
fact that they're like, okay, we got to make it better. It's such a weird thing that like the third movie was not just like, let's keep making it better. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, how do we
Amazing.
top the Stallone fight with the Stallone Austin fight? Oh, we got Van Damme now, so now we've got Stallone Van Damme, which is great.
It's like
The
even
the
better. It's like 15 times even better. Like,
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It I think for people out there, because I was trying to think like the Expendables. I think it was on Netflix. I mean,
it was.
I don't know if it still is now. So it's on Max now. So if you have Max, HBO
Oh,
Max, it is on that. But
just saw a
uh,
trailer for it. It's like,
you
I
could
saw a trailer for it, and it's like, you got Frank Stone. The Frankster's back. He takes off his shirt. Too. He has like a Speedo on or something. It's like,
right.
oh, Frank Stallone there, but all right.
Yeah. Well, you could. The other point you make that actually is a really good one about the Mel Gibson piece, right? In this movie, Eric Roberts is not the big baddie. I mean, sorry, Eric Roberts is the big baddie.
That's also
Austin is his second in command. So
fantastic.
what they could have done with Mel Gibson was had Mel Gibson kind of being more of like an Eric Roberts type baddie, and
Yeah,
then brought on somebody really cool to be like kind of the second in command one for him to fight. And I was trying to think who that name would have been. I mean, DeCascos didn't get into any of these. That
no,
would have been, you know,
a good idea. Like, who would? I mean, they got all the best people in the first one.
right. And
Who
then the
like?
second one, it's like whoever we were
Yeah,
missing in the second. We got Chuck Norris in the second one. I mean, it's
you
like,
got Chuck Norris. Maybe he would be the villain. That would be amazing. Chuck Norris ever really played a villain? So it's
I
like,
don't think so. I don't think. I think he probably refuses to play a villain. Oh, the one time, right? What would have been? What was it? Not Enter the Dragon. What was the? There's the Bruce Lee film where.
oh, that, yeah, he was the villain in
Yeah,
that, yeah. But
yeah,
not like since then. So I mean, like, who would be like a big name for Stallone to fight in the third one, or even the fourth one? Yeah, it's a fight in one in that. But I mean, like,
yeah.
I mean, it's Jeff Speakman. I mean, like that might be an
Oh,
interesting.
Speakman would have been good. Yeah,
Yeah,
Speakman would have been a good one.
and like a Speakman. If people watch these films, they know like they go down the hole. They go down the rabbit
Yeah.
hole. Of these
Oh,
you got one?
even better than Speakman, Thomas
Yeah.
Ian Griffith, right? Because he
Oh
plays
my goodness.
baddies. Would imagine him as the baddie in part 3. So
Oh,
maybe he's not the bat, right? Maybe Mel Gibson's the baddie still, right?
right,
But
right.
Thomas Ian Griffith is his second in command guy,
Yeah.
who is just like chewing scenery at the same time and just
Yes.
doing. Yes, that was the
That'd be
movie, and then get rid
great.
of all the young people and just make
Yeah,
it.
there's fun.
Yeah,
And maybe like Kelsey Grammer could drop by for like a second. That's kind of funny. But it's like,
exactly.
but
Right.
that's kind of funny. But I guess Kelsey Grammer is in this Dolph movie, Wanted Man.
Yes, yeah, it's
I want
still
to.
not free yet, so I'm waiting for it to get to free streaming. Yeah, one of his most Showdown at the Grand was one that he did with Terrence Howard actually. That one is on
My buddy
Pluto
Bo.
now. Yeah,
It's on Pluto.
that one's on Pluto now. So hopefully
right.
Wanted Man will get there soon. Because we definitely could use some new Dolph on free streaming for sure.
Oh yeah, we need to watch Dolph for this upcoming for any of these pods. You know,
Yes.
maybe Wanted Man when that comes out. It'd be great. So
Yeah,
like,
we'll keep an eye out for it because I think that'll be a good one. I think we could definitely use
so
that.
the last thing about the fight, and I want to mention a couple other things, which
Yeah.
is it was a good knuckle down, drag out fight. And I guess Stallone really got hurt, making that.
Yeah, I think he did.
That's a family Stallone trailer. It's like, it's a good. Wait, that's Dolph Lundgren. It's a good, but yeah, it's a good surgery. Surgery with the fight. It was so close to that. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Sometimes it gets a little. Yeah. Maybe I should watch Family Stallone. I'm going to watch it.
It's on Paramount, I think, right, or something.
It's on Paramount Plus, which I have.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm gonna make next time I talk to you or Brett, I'm gonna say I'm gonna watch Family Stallone. I'll make it one of the next shows.
Okay. All right,
it's gonna be funny. I mean, like, Sistine and whatever, and Scarlett Stallone.
Yes.
They're probably obviously the main characters, but you still got Stallone. It's all and
Yeah.
Frank.
Mhm.
So just like because it's the family Stallone.
Yeah.
It's like it was just back with the season. It's like this way I go to Rome. I fight the Pope. It's like
right.
Do you see that clip where he's punching? He's like fake punching the Pope, and like the Pope back.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that is probably funny. I mean, like, hey, look, I just punched the Pope. Like he could be in Rocky 8. Like, Rocky 7. No, it's just Creek out. It's Rocky. That's actually Dolph Lundgren I'm talking now. Am I gonna be a new one? It's just like, well, I never did that before. Where I melded still into Dolph. It's like it's really close of an impression. So
yeah,
but yeah. So what was I gonna say about Family Stallone? Yeah. Are you gonna watch it? Do you have Paramount Plus? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that would be curious about it, but I don't know. It's
Like-
because it's probably going to be like kind of like a Kardashian ripoff, but it might be fat.
Yeah.
I think the question is how much Stallone do you get in? That's probably the question, right?
Because I think he actually. You've seen Rambo: Last Blood.
Yeah.
I saw the clip of Stallone. Like, here's the fake heart I have from Rambo: Last Blood. He took out of the guy in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They all we're like grossed out by it because actually kind of funny.
Right.
I stole the heart. I took out of that guy. I forget his name was like Peter or something. I don't know. He has like no name in Rambo: Last Blood. The bad guy. It's like I don't even know. It's nothing. It's like not even a name.
Yeah.
What a weird movie that is. It's just like because it's like off. It's fun. I still liked it. But yeah. So I think that's it for the fight. Good fight scene. I think we'll do another fight. Well, we're trying to watch Christian Slater and Colm Meaney and Soldier's Fortune, but for some reason, this masterpiece of that fight is not on YouTube.
Exactly. So yeah. So definitely go for some more like this. But I think it's a cool kind of cool segment to kind of revisit these these great fights in these movies.
Like I rewatched like this is good, and it's like it because what's good about Stallone. I know we talk about him a lot in this episode, but he knows how to put on a fight. He knows how to like stage a good fight scene. Look at, of course, one of Van Damme. I mean, like that. I mean, it's like you got Van Damme being such a jerk ass.
Right.
I just want my money's worth. What was that guy's name again?
Right.
It's like I forget about Billy. It's like I don't care about Billy. He didn't even probably talk about him before. It's like David Arquette never talking about Tatum or Rose McGowan in the Scream movie. You know, she died.
Oh, right.
You never mentioned that the second. She didn't say anything after she died. Like, yeah. She said nothing, which is, I guess it's become a joke in the Scream circles.
Right.
But it's like, I always thought that like you could just grieve for a second, but it's like you get crushed by the garage door. Unless you haven't seen it. You've seen Scream, I assume, but just like
the original one, the
original for the first one.
Yeah.
But you'll love this newest one if you like Dermot Mulroney.
Okay,
So,
right.
And
That sounds good.
you gotta wait.
Yeah,
it's worth the wait.
Okay,
So,
I love Dermot Mulroney, so I've grown to love him. I should say. I think
that's true. I've grown to love him more now.
yeah, exactly.
But right. I should let you go in a minute.
Yes. Did you want to do some plugs? Yeah, you got to do your plugs.
Let's see what we got. Oh, Comeuppance Reviews.net, the website, and then I think we have reviews of EX1 and 2 on there, and then what else is there? Comeuppance Reviews, the podcast is on all your favorite podcatchers like Stitcher.
Yeah, except Stitcher.
Usually Apple, iTunes, where people download it.
Well, because Stitcher's gone. There's no more Stitcher, so that's the one that.
Oh, whoops! There's no more Stitcher.
So everything but Stitcher is.
Oh my goodness! I didn't know Stitcher went away.
Yeah, last year. I still haven't removed the links. I got to remove the links from my own stuff.
Wonder.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me that. I'm going to remove the links too.
Yeah, it was bought by another company, and they sunsetted it. I think Pandora. They were merged with Pandora or something. So I think there's Pandora podcasts that you probably would still be available on if you were on Stitcher.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. Maybe I'm gonna check my links now. See if you say we're on Stitcher, because it's like I guess I just don't think about Stitcher because it's always there.
Yeah. No, I think last August I think the company.
So it was recently.
Yeah. It's not that long ago, but yeah, they sunsetted it. Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's on Apple, iTunes, not Stitcher. Let's see what else is on there. All the Spotify. Yeah. So. Ty Comeuppance is on the Twitter X, which I guess people can message me on there, but most on Instagram, Ty Action Rocks, which I posted Midnight Cop, starring Michael York, Morgan Fairchild, Armin Mueller-Stahl, and Frank Stallone. So, maybe it'd be great if he said that. Like, I'm Frank Stallone. I was in Midnight Cop. It's like our family. See, that's the thing. I want to see what movies they mention on the show. It's going to be a bunch of Rocky and Rambo material.
Yeah.
But really funny, like, I was a Cobra. It's good. I was a Cobra.
Well, because I wonder too with the Rocky stuff if it's going to be like the whole thing about how like those producers took Rocky away from him, and it's like probably like a lot of like fans and stuff saying how you got to make another Rocky. Well, I can't because the producer, like if they give it back to me, wink, wink, come on, It's
wink. Or that Irvin Kershner, he took my rights away again.
Right. Well, because I remember I saw something where Michael B. Jordan was saying he wanted to create a Creed verse, like a series of movies. It's like it's not a Creed verse; it's a Rocky verse. Creed was a character within Rocky. It's like
I know that's ridiculous. And of course, the other guy is the villain in Creed 3. I guess he's in he's not doing so hot in the old law department.
Yes, unfortunately,
he's in major trouble.
Exactly.
Well, maybe he should not. Well, what's funny, you got to listen. I know this is off topic, but I was listening to the Cat Williams podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I can listen from stupid name, but Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp, the podcast of Cat Williams. It's 2 parts. I'm still listening to it because it takes me some time to finish. But he makes fun of Jonathan Majors. It's kind of I can't do Cat Williams. It's like, I'm gonna be running away like Jonathan Majors over here. It's like it's like he said all the crazy stuff. Cat Williams. So
Cat Williams is just people should. People should seek out some of that stuff that he does like that. Like I was telling you about that time he was on that radio show, I think in like Atlanta or something like that, where he was one of the DJs. She was giving him a hard time, and he just went in on her. But it's like when he goes. When he goes in on somebody, kind of like what you were talking about here, it's just very like kind of just calm, like Cat Williams like voice, but he's just like throwing out these barbs that are just hilarious, and it's just like you start dying laughing, and they're brutal, like you said. Yeah, they're
brutal, but they're funny. That's why he gets away. It's like this. He's funny. I watched First Sunday. I should probably let you go, but that movie called First Sunday. And Cat Williams, Ice Cube, and Tracy Morgan. Lazy movie. We're just like, but because Ice Cube is freaking lazy. But what Cat Williams you do get is pretty funny. It's like he plays like this deacon guy, like this. He helps with the church singer. It's like, I'm just trying to sing my songs for the church, man. And, it was funny enough. Cat Williams, he's in some like weird kind of fake movie documentary called American Pimp, I think. And our buddy Jeremy Piven's in it.
Nice.
He might play himself, but I gotta look into that one.
Yeah, we do some cat. Now one quick thing too is we're wrapping up here. Our plans for the next couple months for April and May. So we're thinking April, we're going to do some Eric Roberts because his birthday is in April, and we're going to do maybe some Top Gunner movies.
Top Gunner 1.
Speaking of Asylum,
perfect. I can't wait to. I'll watch them soon. Then we have what Madsen May.
We're thinking about some Madsen May for May to get some Madsen. So we were talking about trying to do some Madsen. There's so much Madsen available that we're trying to find it. And we thought, hey, Madsen May might be the way to go.
Maybe. Well, I've been sitting on that movie called Machine. I don't know if you want to suffer to it also, but I mean, like there's Machine with Madsen, with also Neil McDonough.
Yeah.
Some other guy who's really the main character. And then Shark Season. I don't know if you want to. Maybe it's not like an action movie, but like I just hear he's really skidding on that one. It's like, I'm on the phone. It's like,
with the more recent Madsen stuff, it's very hit or miss. Like you don't know what you're getting, and so that's part of the fun, right? It's like Madsen roulette, right? It's that could be a game people could play. Madsen roulette, where you just kind of go like search his name on Tubi, and just sort of like throw if you've got it on your TV, right? Like you get like those like little like suction cup darts. You could like close your eyes and shoot the suction cup dart at the screen and see what movie it lands on.
That's a scary idea for Michael Madsen because he's made some cruds.
Right.
I think these ones, if we want to do Machine or Shark Season, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
And Eric Roberts is Top Gunner 1 and Top Gunner, and then there's Top Gunner 2, America versus Russia, which is hilarious.
I think that might be Top Gunner 3. I think there's 3 Top Gunners.
Well, one is Paray, right? So
I think so. Yeah.
One, the Eric ones are on Tubi.
Yeah. So I think we could definitely I think that'll be good to do some Top Gunner for sure. And we'll figure out which ones we'll be doing for it. But we'll kind of and then some Madsen in May, and then probably when we get back to June, probably get back into some Willis because we gotta we don't want to stay too long away from Willis. Yeah, we'll have to see what's available when we get there. I guess that's probably the best bet.
Like, maybe Fortress will drop by then.
It might. If we get Fortress, we can kind of complete our 2021, 2022 Willis. That's the problem, right?
We have some procuring those, but
yeah, exactly. So we gotta complete the 2022. I think it's the 2022 Willis that we need to complete. Like that's we've done almost all of them, but
I have copies of Fortress 1 and 2 on DVD because I was like, it was cheap prices, so I bought it.
Yeah.
But I don't have. Hopefully, you can watch it. And then
Gasoline Alley is another one from 2022. Maybe we get to just finally do that and be like, just send the review to Hulu so they'll know that we've watched it. And the podcast like here Hulu, we watched it. Stop recommending it. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. We watched it. Okay, who? I call him Lou, not Lou. Or Lou. We call Lou. I'm being ridiculous right now. But the America versus Russia, though, it'd be really funny because it's going to be hilariously topical but wrong.
Right.
So
it's
like, I think he plays the president, Eric Roberts, in that. So it's like, Russia, America versus Russia. Okay. It's like, Alexei Navalny, he died.
Yeah, it should be good.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think, it should be interesting. I think America versus Russia is the third one. I think
that's just funny. I love that they called it that.
Yeah, because there's 3, right? There's the so there's Top Gunner, there's Top Gunner Danger Zone. That's the one with Paray that you were talking about. So the middle one doesn't have Eric Roberts, but Top Gunner and Top Gunner America, they bring him back. They bring Roberts back. So that could be what we could do. Yeah, we could do.
That's fine. I'm happy to do Top Gunner and then Top Gunner AV.
Yeah.
AVR.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's perfect. AVR, I love that.
AVR. That's very forget. Alien vs. Predators, America versus Russia.
Right. No, that's perfect.
That's just all right. Well, let's end on that note. So,
Yeah. Well, that's a good time for us to wrap it here.
Yeah.
So thanks again for coming on, Ty. And thank
That
you everybody for listening. And we'll talk again soon.
sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.
Director